All right, welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. And tonight is an all 49ers open mic episode on Tuesday, just like we always do. But before we get started, a couple of topics at hand that can parlay into whatever you want to talk about. Maybe it's a topic you want to cover and we can go further in depth, or you can come up with your own topic, however you want to do it. But the 49ers got a much needed win on Sunday. It's a win that they had to have. If they lost to the Bears, the season was over. Playoffs are over. There was no chance. They ended up winning 33-22. Jimmy Garoppolo skimming by the skin of his teeth to keep his job. But here we are. The 49ers are right there in the playoff race. They have the Vikings on their schedule, which is fantastic because that is one of the teams that they are fighting for that final playoff spot with. Now, trade news. The Rams acquire Von Miller. Now, Von Miller to the Rams, it sounds crazy on the surface. Oh my gosh, how do they afford him? Does the salary cap even apply to them? The answer is absolutely yes, it does. The way that it works is the Rams sent a second and a third round pick to Denver. Denver pays 9 of the $9.7 million remaining on Von Miller's contract. That is how they were able to make that work. That's how they were able to acquire a 32-year-old veteran. This is a different scenario, right? The 49ers and the Rams are on completely different timelines right now. The Rams are in win now, and as in win now, that means win this year. The 49ers are not in win now mode, and thus the situation that you have where the Rams are going all in, good for them. It does not fit the 49ers timeline. Let's not forget that Von is aging, and he is a free agent to be. It makes sense for them. It did not make sense for the 49ers, but the 49ers did not sit on their hands. They acquired a pass rusher of their own for a 2023 sixth-round pick, Charles Omenihu from the Texans. Now, Charles Omenihu, if you are not familiar with him, he's been in the league for a couple years. He was drafted, I believe, 2019, if I remember correctly. He came out of the University of Texas. His senior year, he actually had 9.5 sacks. So Omenihu is a guy who can get after the quarterback, and in the limited time that he has played, he has gotten after the quarterback. Now he's 280 pounds. He's a bigger D end, so he can hold the edge a little bit. What that tells me is the 49ers probably plan to play Eric Armstead a little bit more at D tackle as the season unfolds, because they did not go get a D tackle. They definitely need D tackle help. And Armstead has been kicking inside more often than not. So you get Willis back, you make the trade for Omenihu, and now Armstead is more free to play inside. We'll see how that works for them, but that is definitely an option. And then the last thing before we get to your calls is the Cardinal 49er game this week. Big game. Obviously, the Niners do need to win it. It would be nice to be 500 going into that Rams game, which, let's be honest, that's most likely a loss. But if they can be 500 going into it, they can come out of that, maybe reel off a win against, I believe it's Jacksonville after that. So there are some hopes for the playoffs here, right? Let's also not forget that it sounds like Kyler Murray probably play. There's a chance, but the betting line has moved. That tells me there's something that Vegas knows that maybe we do not. So Kyler Murray, chances are he does not play, which clearly ups the 49ers' chances of winning that game. But that is everything that is on my mind. Let's get to your calls. The link is in the description. And let me switch this banner over so that we can bring on the man who kicks us off every single week, Mr. Korean 49er. What is up, my guy? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good, Jesse. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, man, I'm doing fantastic. The 49ers won. This is the first time we've done this show in about a 6-week time span where the 49ers have won. Isn't that crazy?
This is crazy. And a couple points about the game. To me, it's a nice win, but it's against a Chicago Bears team that the Chicago media usually says are a bunch of tomato cans and can't play dead.
Yeah.
So we have to keep that in consideration. But it's always good to get the win. I'm not going to say anything bad about any win we get. But a couple points from the game. I'm happy to see Deebo Samuel playing very well, not having those nagging injuries that usually bring him down, bring his season down a little bit. But the only thing from him is I want to see less drops.
Yeah, Debo, listen, Debo, that's kind of the knock on him, right? He does drop the ball and he has a little fumbleitis as well.
Yeah. And also, Debo turned the momentum of that game around with that screenplay right around halfway through the third quarter, because if the Bears would have stopped that play, or at least, he only getting a 10-yard gain, I think the Bears still have the momentum, and I think they would have kept the momentum for the rest of the game.
Well, there's a couple things that really went into it, right? Like, let's look at the end of the first half. If the 49ers, if Jimmy doesn't complete that, 50-something yard pass to Debo, chances are they go in scoring less than 7 points again. I mean, this is really becoming a trend for the 49ers. So, yeah, I mean, that right there, that's a killer. Obviously, that was good for the 49ers' favor. And then, yeah, that Debo 3rd and 20 or whatever it was, I mean, that was it. Like, that was the momentum changer for the game. Absolutely.
So, that, to me, that's just how I saw it. And also, the Bears' offense is usually quite mediocre, since usually every time most people talk about the Bears, it's the running game and defense. So, one other point I thought of is I'm happy that we have a young running back that's doing well with Elijah Mitchell. But what has Trey Sermon done to be persona non grata and not even get a carry or two a game? Because I don't want to see Elijah Mitchell getting continually dinged up, because he's taking on a lot of carries, and usually running backs don't last that long if they take that many carries.
Yeah, listen, I completely agree with you. The fact that he hasn't gotten a lot of burn, and when he has played, he's played well. Like, my whole thought around Sermon was he was brought in to play with Trey Lance, right? The fact that when Trey came in against Arizona, he only got, I believe, 1 carry, if I remember correctly. That to me was interesting. I'll just put it that way. It was very interesting, and he definitely deserves more carries for sure.
My issue with that is the 49ers traded to move up to get him. I don't understand why. Did he do something so bad that he can't see the field? I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's really all the rookies. Like, let's really think about it, right? Like, Ambry Thomas suited up. I believe he played 9 snaps week 1. Everybody's forgotten it. If you ask everybody, Ambry Thomas hasn't suited all year. Like, that's how long ago that week 1 game was, right? So I believe he got 9 snaps then. Some of that was even on special teams. Sermon had the 1 game where he was the main guy. And then obviously Elijah Mitchell came back. But even in the game where, what was it? Was it against Seattle when Sermon was supposed to be the main guy? It was Juszczyk that got the first carry of the game, right? So even then, you're kind of slapping him on the wrist saying, listen, you're not good enough to play. And then you've got a situation with the cornerback, Lenore, who played well early, and now he can't even be on the active roster. I don't know. The whole thing is crazy to me.
Yeah, I don't understand it myself, because we need the rookies to eventually see some kind of playing time and improve for next season. So, and also I could see to me, if the 49ers are going to be a playoff contending team, in my eyes, they need to win a string of games, maybe 5 out of 6 or something like that, because Chicago's a nice win, always good to get wins, but until they do that, I can't consider this team a playoff team for a second.
Yeah, listen, I mean, wins mask everything, right? But let's be real. Chicago is Chicago. That was a game every 49er fan, for the most part, expected the 49ers to win. In games that most 49er fans expected them to win, they are now 3-1. The Colts was one of them. That ended up being a loss, right? And then Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's talk about him for a second. Garoppolo played good, right? He had the one good deep throw down the middle, whatever. But it was still the same game for the most part from Garoppolo. You take away the 83-yard pass to Debo that was a screen pass behind the line of scrimmage, he's around 230 yards passing, right? He still didn't throw outside the numbers beyond 10 yards. So, yeah, I mean, listen, did Garoppolo play fine? Yeah, sure, he was fine. But was he just a completely different quarterback? No, that's not the case at all. I mean, he had some misses over the middle with Debo wide open. People called it a drop on Debo. I think it was a little bit high and to the outside, whatever. There was that one. There was the near pick. So listen, I mean, good game, but it wasn't an amazing game. It's not enough for us to, everything's good. The 49ers are a playoff team now. They beat the Bears and Garoppolo's back. No, it wasn't that for me.
Yeah, and two quick points. I see the 49ers winning like a 24-20 game against Arizona with Kyler out and maybe even DeAndre Hopkins out, supposedly. And then 22 years ago yesterday, Walter Payton passed away. So
Walter Payton, man, sweetness. That is all-time great for sure. Top 3 running back at the very worst. Some people think he's the greatest running back. And they have the Walter Payton Award for a reason. I mean, better man than he was running back. And that's saying a lot because Walter Payton was a hell of a running back. So that's a good tidbit. You said 22 years ago today?
No, yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay. Well, rest in peace, Walter Payton, man. That's incredible. Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this. So you said the 49ers win 24-20. That's if Kyler Murray is out. What if Kyler Murray plays? What are your thoughts?
I see that being a loss.
Okay. All right.
But if Vegas knows something, then something, they know if Vegas knows something, then who knows?
Yeah, I think it went from 3.5 points and now it's a pick 'em. So usually that tells us that something's going on that Vegas knows that we don't. So whether that's Kyler's out, whether that's Hopkins is out, something's going on. Vegas usually ahead of things for sure.
Yeah. And Walter Payton in 1977, he carried that team to the playoffs because they had more or less a non-existent passing attack for the Bears. Not to say the Bears have had luck with quarterbacks.
They ever had a passing attack? My gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, man, you're right, man. Walter Payton was a beast. Green 49er, that was a great tidbit. Thank you for starting us off like always. You have a fantastic night. And hopefully we talk next Tuesday after a second 49er victory in a row. You have a good night. All right, brother?
Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Later. Okay. Let me get in. Mr. Mike Miller. I know you got a lot on your mind, man.
I do.
What's going on?
We're going to start with this. And then you tell me your thoughts. This is simple shit.
Okay.
Can you do it?
All right, so let me fill everybody in for those who may not know what you're referencing. Okay, so here's what's going on. Grant Cohn is talking to KP from, I believe he's from 49ers Nation. Anyways, he taps Grant during the game and says, listen, I don't know if you've noticed, but Kyle Shanahan has been talking to Garoppolo for the last 4 plays. Now, mind you, during this time, it's the end of the first half. The Bears are driving to take the lead. Well, they're already up, 10-6 at that point. And the Bears are driving to go up possibly 17-6. And Trey Lance is warming up. Now, it comes out later that the words that were spoken to Jimmy Garoppolo was, this is simple shit. Can you do this? So take that for what it is. I look at it one way. Some people look at it another. Some say it's coach speak. I also think it's coach speak, but I also feel like, hey, this is your last chance. Get it together or we're going with the kid is the way that I take it. Anyways, Mike Miller, go ahead.
That's exactly how I take it is. You're on the hot seat, shit, or get off the pot.
Yeah, that's the way that I took it.
That's what it meant. Some other things that I wanted to say too tonight was we are $17+ million in dead cap. that they've wasted over the last few years that we cannot spend. Also, they have $25.5 million of money sitting on the IR right now. So that's over $42 to $43 million we don't have to spend because it was wasted or spent on injury-prone players.
Okay. Wow.
Kind of hard.
Well, and then let's not. I mean, that's not including the 26 from Jimmy, right?
Plus 26 from him that could be used.
Yeah.
So we could literally say it's almost $70 million shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. What could we have in free agency with that $70 million? Could have had us a top corner. Could have had us a top wide receiver. Could have had us another top pass rusher. And we still have a bunch of money.
Mm.
You know, that's a lot of money. If it's only 42, forget Jimmy. It's $42 million. That is 3 Pro Bowl players we could have on this squad right now.
Yeah, easily. Let me ask you this: what were your thoughts as soon as you heard about Von Miller going to the Rams? What was your initial reaction?
Jimmy G better duck. Because Von Miller's not going to be double teamed because Aaron Donald eats him up.
Right.
Von Miller is single for the first time in his career is probably going to be single teamed.
Yeah, that's kind of a crazy
better
thought.
Duck, Jimmy.
That's that. That's good. I like that. That's funny.
You know, they got better. You know, Von Miller's got 4.5 sacks this season or 4 sacks so far this season through 7 games. That's not bad.
Well, and he was hurt too. So I mean, let's be real. Von Miller looks like Von Miller to me. Like he looks really good still. And now your point, he's not going to get double teamed. He's going to be playing with Donald. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Von Miller's going to get loose.
Yeah.
Imagine him on McGlinchey. Ugh, gosh. That's a nightmare.
And that's the spot he plays.
Mm-hmm.
He will be playing Mike McGlinchey one-on-one. They better start gelling more if they want to keep Jimmy G alive. Because remember, if he gets injured, they're on the hook for that next year's money.
Ugh.
That's $27 million because you know Jimmy.
No. To be fair, it's $7.5 million is the injury guarantee. But that's that's $7.5 million they cannot afford to lose.
No, seeing as how we only got about $10 million in cap next year.
Absolutely.
You know, if we don't do nothing, we're out of draft picks. Well, high draft picks, I should say. Well, maybe that's a good thing. If you keep John Lynch, we won't be drafting first round bust for the next 2 years.
Yeah,
like we have
absolutely.
So that may be a blessing. You know, he screws them up just like, you know, drinking coffee in the morning. But
yeah. Hey, before you get to your next point, let me just say something real quick. We got 50 people in here, so I appreciate all of you. Make sure that you like and subscribe if you have not done so already. Tomorrow is the giveaway for $100 in fan gear. So make sure that
I better win it. No, I'm just kidding.
There we go. Make sure that you go to our first video. You say that you've subscribed to enter for that $100 in fan gear for the giveaway tomorrow. And if you want to call in, I know it's normally packed. Usually you call in, you got 7-8 people in front of you.
Game 6 of the World Series.
Oh, Bravies. There we go.
Because if I win it, I may be getting Braves gear.
Hey, there you go. Hey, that's fine. Listen, that's fine. But listen, if you want to call in, now is the time. I've got nobody after Mike. So very rare. Like I said, I've got about 6-7 people waiting normally. So if you want to get in, now is your time. All right, Mike, floor is yours. Go ahead.
Next point. It's obvious we're not going to make the playoffs. We've got to get some draft capital. Otherwise, how are we going to get some corners for this team next year and a safety? I'm sick and tired of Jimmy Ward, and I'll tell you why I'm sick and tired of him. I want a player to play free safety that makes turnovers after turnovers after turnovers. If you don't have a guy in that position that is a game changer, and that is probably the most important position in the secondary, is the free safety. I'm happy with Hufanga. He's going to be a superstar. Thank God Tart's gone now, really. I hope they never bring him back. Hufanga is a playmaker. He knows how to make tackles. He doesn't miss tackles. He's always in every play, known to man. He's in the right position. He's got the smarts to play free or strong safety. We're set for life there, or until however long he's here. But other than that, we need corners and stuff. You got to have draft capital. We've got to have actual cap room also. And, I know everybody likes George Kittle and everything, but that's probably your most valuable trade commodity on the team. I guarantee you, Belichick would give 2 first-round picks for George Kittle.
Oh, I don't know
loves
about
his
that.
tight ends.
I don't think so. He does love his tight ends. I don't. No way. No way
You
he
don't
does
think
that
we
for
give 2
Kittle.
firsts for George Kittle?
No, not a chance in hell. That guy can't stay healthy.
Maybe
He
we
might
trade
be.
him to
Listen,
Rams
he might
and
net
we'll
a
get
first.
25
He
first-round
might.
picks.
He might net a first. I could see a
You think
possibility
so?
where he would net a first.
Well, then the next option is Fred Warner. He's not playing up to the contract. Do you think he's playing to the contract now?
Fred Warner's not playing as well as he normally would. I'm not going to deny that. He's still young. He's the one, but the thing with Fred, right? And here's the reason why I say no on Fred is Fred is healthy. I mean, Fred's one of the healthy ones, right? Like Kittle, not healthy. Debo, I could see not signing him because he's had his injury issues. You know what I mean? Debo's probably my favorite player on the team, Mike, but listen, I don't know if I'm paying him.
Debo's probably going to end up with 1,500 yards this year. Would he be worthy of 2 firsts?
At least a first. If you let me ask you this. Well, this is more for the chat. You guys tell me if Debo kills it this year and somebody comes calling and says, listen, we'll give you a first round pick for Debo. So you can either pay Debo buku bucks or you can trade him for a first. What are you guys doing? Chat, you guys tell me what you're doing. I know what you're doing, Mike.
Because remember, we also got him next year is his 4th year. So he ain't got to go nowhere yet.
Yeah. No, he's guaranteed next year. But I'm saying before we break the bank, if somebody offers a first round pick, I'm looking at it. I'm definitely looking at it.
I want a first round corner. That's what I want. I've been begging for a first round corner for the last 13 seasons now. And all we've drafted is D-line. Wide receivers in the 2nd and 3rd rounds. Why can't we ever get a first round corner? And I don't understand it. And that is the biggest need we've got on this team right now is a first round corner.
Listen, here's the other thing though, and this is the problem for trading for picks, right? Versus trading for players. The 49ers don't draft so hot in the first round, Mike. Like that's an issue. That's a concern.
Kittle for their star corner in New England. Straight up.
Yeah. Well, listen, J.C. Horn, I think I don't know if he's restricted or unrestricted. We'll see. I would have to know.
JC
I don't know
Horn.
if J.C. Horn. I mean, not J.C. Horn.
You got that guy on your mind.
I do have J.C. Horn on my. Listen, he was my favorite. He was my favorite corner. J.C. What's his name? It's J.C.
Did you dress up as J.C. Horn for Halloween? I'm just kidding.
I know. I wish I would have. Listen, I love J.C. Horn. I can't stop thinking of that guy.
J.C. Horn.
Who's J.C. J.C. whatever from Patriots.
From New England.
I'm drawing a blank on that kid right now. Anyways, everybody knows who I'm talking about.
I mean, would you straight up Kittle for him?
I would. Listen, in a heartbeat. Yes.
For Mac Jones. And Mac Jones is probably going to make 11 wins this season for New England. But he's looking good and he's getting better every week. I took a lot of bash for saying that I liked him and everything, even though I mocked Trey Lance to us. But I knew he was going to have the best first season out of any player coming in. So
here it is right here. Thank you. So I was waiting for somebody in the chat.
Yes.
Yeah, come on. It's somebody in the chat. The chat, you always has my back. What's going on? It took forever.
I would trade him straight up for Kittle.
Yeah. Oh, in a heartbeat. Yeah. If New England was like, we'll give you J.C. Jackson for Kittle, I'm doing that with no questions.
New England gets corners like nothing. They know how to draft their corners.
Yeah.
Why not get rid of the corner right before his big, huge payday coming up too? Because he's next year's his 4th season also. So maybe New England would look to move from him because he's going to get a $20 million a year contract. I mean, you don't get 10 interceptions per year back-to-back years, and he's looking to get that much again this season like he did last season and not get a big, huge payday. And that's the problem. We need turnovers. We need turnovers bad. We don't need late game turnovers like we got this time and stuff. And Jimmy G also, before I go, better buy Debo Samuels a brand new Mercedes for making that 4-yard minus catch and taking it for 80 yards because he'd have been benched if that wouldn't have happened.
And listen, that could be factual. If they lose to the Bears, there's no doubt in my mind that Trey Lance is starting this week. So, listen, he owes Debo a lot. Debo got that 50-yarder. Debo got that one turned into what, an 80-yarder, 83-yarder, whatever
80,
it was.
80 yards, yeah. Debo saved him.
Well, and not only that, he got down to the 1-inch line, and Jimmy G was able to run it in, so he looked even better.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right. Well, I'll let you go.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
All right. Later.
Later. All right. So I got my guy, Rando Commando. It's been a while since I've talked to you, brother. Hopefully everything is good. This is my guy from the Genuine Draft. I'll bring him on. How's it going, my man?
It's going good, man. I thought I was going to have to wait a little longer than that, man. Just
listen, it's crazy, right? So we got 55 watching right now. Normally, like last week I started it, I had 7 deep before I even got to a person. This is the slowest it's been. So, it's kind of funny, right? 49ers lose. This chat is packed. People got things to say. And, people say they don't like the negative. They don't like those things. But, normally I got around 80-something people in here watching. I got 52. And normally I got 7 or 8 waiting. So, 49er wins means less to say, I guess. But, it is what it is. No big deal. What's on your mind, my man?
Nothing, man. I just wanted to call in. I just finished recording the Genuine Draft podcast with Amin. So that was good. We just finished that up and then thought I'd call in and talk to you, man. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, listen, first of all, hopefully Amin's available. He can call in. That would be fantastic. Sharp kid, right? He's super sharp.
Yeah, he's always fun to have on. We had him on before, and this is the first time we did the Niners, so it was nice to have that, man. What was your opinion on the win, and how do you feel going into Arizona? Like, do you feel like Garoppolo earned himself a full game, or do you think he's on the hot seat if it's a bad half, or how do you kind of feel about the situation going forward?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would have pulled Jimmy a long time ago, but realistically, what happened in that game, I think he's at least one full bad game away from being gone. Whether that's Arizona, whether that's against the LA Rams, I'm not sure, but it was nice to get a win. I'll say that it was an expected win, so I'm not super celebratory over it. If the 49ers lost to Chicago without Khalil Mack, I mean, that's about as low as it gets right now. So good win. Good teams are supposed to beat bad teams. That one was a little bit iffy, but the 49ers definitely pulled it out. They did what they needed to do, and now it's on to Arizona, who may or may not have Kyler Murray, may or may not have DeAndre Hopkins, and we'll see what happens. I think the 49ers can win this game regardless if those guys play or not, but we can talk about it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup regardless. Will the defense be able to hold Kyler to I think he had 1 rushing yard last time. They just got roasted with Justin Fields for over 100, and only 2 of those were scripted runs. 8 of those were scrambles. Obviously, the big one for the touchdown where he juked Armstead out of his pants. It's just something to be looking at. And will Kyler be a pocket passer with the ankle? Will he try not to risk it? And then the defense looks a little bit different. The Cardinals are getting back a corner, but they lost J.J. Watt, who was by far their best pass rusher against us. I believe he had 8 pressures and had a win rate of over 24% against our offensive line. So something to be looking at there, how the defense will shake up. And then now we've got both of our safeties are gone against arguably the best wide receiver core in football. And now they have Zach Ertz, which usually Jimmy Ward covers the tight end. So it's going to be interesting how this game shapes up on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, that J.J. Watt loss is huge for them. He was a one-man wrecking crew against the 49ers in that right side of that line. So not having him is a big deal. And, even if Kyler plays, they did find a way to corral Kyler that last game. They did a great job keeping him in the pocket. He was unable to step up and do Kyler Murray things. Now you add in the fact that he's injured. So even if he does play, he's going to be less mobile naturally. I think the 49ers really can win this game. Sounds like Edmonds might not play. It also sounds like D-Hop might not play. So these guys are banged up enough. Listen, no no sympathy here. The 49ers have had their fair share of injuries. I don't care if your whole team's injured at this point. Obviously, I wish everybody the best. I don't want anybody injured long term, but when you play the 49ers, if your whole roster is out, so be it.
Yeah, I mean it's the NFL, and you have to play with who you play there, and players step up and everything like that. I was talking about this and looking at, we have the 2-7-1 teams coming up, maybe a future with the team and how maybe the block of games comes out this month. Obviously, we have Cardinals, Rams, and then Jaguars in Minnesota. I was kind of thinking, like, unless they get absolutely beat, would you think it'd be beneficial for trade? Like, say they get shellacked by Kyler, would you think it'd be beneficial for trade to start against the Rams in prime time? Or maybe you save him for an easier opponent in Jacksonville to get his confidence going and not throw him against a tough opponent like they did last time?
I'm playing him no matter what. I don't really care. Yeah. Listen, even if he looks like crap, it is what it is. Once you go to him, you're going to him. You're sticking with Trey the rest of the season. For me, I'm playing him regardless. If that's the worst that he's going to get, if that's the toughest defense he's going to get, then let's just see it early and then let him show out against the Jags. Mainly because I'm going to be at that game. So,
nice little Florida love for you, huh? Trying to get some beaches in. That's good, man. I think you look at it as, obviously it would be better for him to start against the Jags, but to delay it any further, next year he'll have to play the Rams and Arizona regardless, and so why not throw him in there right away? What was the most impressive part, or who showed up that really hasn't showed up most of the season in the Bears game, and how do you think that continues against Arizona?
Who showed up that hadn't shown up before?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll say this. It wasn't an individual player, but I'll just say the run game. I mean, the run game has really been absent this season. This is something that Shanahan is not committed to. Let's not forget that Lance against Arizona was the leading rusher. So now they're coming off back-to-back 100-yard games. It's the first time that's happened since Breida did it, I think, in 18 or 19. And, I thought I had heard somewhere that was the most rushing yards by an individual back the 49ers have had since, like, Frank Gore in a single game. So, listen, this is in a regular season game, I should say. Let me be clear. We know Mostert went ham in the playoffs. But,
they had 100 yards against Arizona, too, because Trey had over 80.
They did, but that was because of Trey, though. That would – as far as the running back perspective, that's we haven't seen it. So now we've had back-to-back 100-yard games from a running back. Yeah, let me clarify that. So listen, that's huge. The 49ers need to stick to the run game, especially if Jimmy's starting. That's his best friend. I mean, if you can use play action, you can get some bootleg off of it. Jimmy's, for all the knocks I have against him, he's shown more mobility this year than what he's shown probably since 2017. So that's a good thing. He's been more mobile. Get him out on the boots. The same thing that they should have done for Trey when he played. You can do those things a little bit with Jimmy, maybe not with the same effectiveness, but it's something that can be done. So, yeah, those are the things that I look for. Play action, run the ball, and as long as you can do that, you can really stay in any game.
Yeah, I thought Ayuk is probably the thing that comes to my mind because obviously we know that Shanahan's a big trust person. He looked like he was blocking with more ferocity most of the game, Ayuk. And then, the big trust factor going for the 2-point conversion. It was a single read play. He beat the guy one-on-one, and to rely on him to do it, especially since he's been in the quote-unquote doghouse most of the season, I thought was a big thing for me. And then, this trade doesn't look that big on paper that they got, but I think a rotating factor of him, or how do you pronounce his name? Amenahue and Ebukam and D Ford on the outside allows Armstead to play interior more often.
Yes.
And I think that'll be a benefit because losing Jadeveon Kinlaw and, giving up over 120 rush yards a game, we need Armstead on the interior more often. And so that allows us to have that. And the new guy, regardless of, has no sacks, his win rate or his presser percentage is more than Armstead, more than Ebukam this season. And so maybe he'll get some key snaps in a limited role that you might see more than what you expect from him.
Yeah, listen, I think that you're right about that. That was one of the ways that I opened the show was talking about Armstead moving inside. I think that's the clear-cut vision for what they have going on. You go out and get a defensive end when you clearly need a D tackle. Well, that means that somebody's going to slide into the interior. It only makes sense that man is Armstead. So yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think Armstead ends up playing more interior, and we'll see how it works for him. You know what I mean? I mean, to me, if Armstead put on 10 to 15 pounds in the offseason and played D tackle going forward for the rest of his career, I would have no issues with that. I think that's probably where he's better suited.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's a different skill set, and we saw it with, maybe to a lesser extent Solomon Thomas. But when you're having to switch inside outside all the time, and you're having to worry about different things, you're looking at that kind of thing. To answer Steve-O's question, I think he's the only receiver or only player in the NFL to account for over 50% of the team's offense. And so I think there's no way that he doesn't make top 5 receiver is this year if he stays healthy.
Yeah, he's got to clean up the drops for sure. Drops, fumbles. He's a different type of receiver. He's not going to beat you with his amazing route running. He's not going to beat you with his overarching athleticism. But when he gets the ball, he's a handful to take down. He's quick. He's quicker than he is fast, that's for sure. And he just knows how to make people miss. So yeah, listen, Debo's a baller. Debo's a baller. Before I have you get out of here, Rando, give me your score prediction for this Sunday and let me know if that changes if Kyler Murray's playing. So give me the score with Kyler Murray playing and without Kyler Murray playing.
I think we do better on offense, regardless of who the quarterback is. I think we don't run. If Trey ends up playing the second half, I don't think you're going to see a lot of those dives up the middle. And we're going to get Kittle back this time, which should at least help in the run game. Elijah Mitchell's a little bit more seasoned. So I think the offense would look a little bit better regardless. So I think if Kyler plays, we probably lose a close one, maybe 24-21, somewhere in there. And then if Colt McCoy's playing, I think we probably, it's probably more 24-17 or 24-14, somewhere in there, because you just focus on the run game. You make Colt McCoy beat you, especially since, we all know how that's going to work with the first team reps in practice. Usually only one quarterback gets it. If he's not getting it all week because Kyler's practicing, then we'll see how that's there. But, like you said, our team runs through the run game. If we're over 100 yards again, Jimmy's most likely going to have a decent game. He did have 2 turnover-worthy plays against the Bears. They didn't capitalize on it. So it'll be up to the secondary of the Cardinals to maybe do those things. But Jimmy, if he has a good run game, is a very capable quarterback. It just depends on whether our offensive line is going to be able to do that back-to-back games.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, brother. Good call. I appreciate you calling in. Go check out the Genuine Draft podcast if you have not done so already. Some of your normal guys that everybody here knows. You've got Amin making an appearance. Warun is a part of things. Obviously, Rando. So, go check those guys out. And listen, let's hope next Tuesday we are talking about another 49er victory.
I hear you on that.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Catch it. Thank you.
Later. Ja, I would like to come to you next, my guy, but I'm going to go to Pinor. It says that you have no device connected. You don't have to be on camera. Obviously, I've got everybody blocked out, but you do have to have some sort of camera connected. Otherwise, it will not let me bring you in. So if you can get that resolved, it says that you need to connect your mic and cam before I can add you to the stream. So if you can get it resolved, like I said, come back in and I'll get to you. Otherwise, nothing I can do. What's up, Pinor? How you doing?
What's good, man? I'm doing actually good. And I mean,
look, see, this is what I love about Pinor. When you ask him how he's doing, he's not going to give you a BS answer. He's going to tell you. So you're doing actually good. All right, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Why are you doing actually good?
I'm very productive in something other than the 49ers crap right now. So yeah, okay. So I'm just happy outside of it, I guess. But now going back into the rabbit hole of the Niners, there's actually 2 things that are on my mind about the Niners.
Okay.
One is Deebo Samuels, which is ironic that you guys are just talking about him. So for me, I'm starting to see a lot of people, and even with one of my buddies I talk to normally, he was telling me that is Deebo Samuel's a true receiver though? Like we're arguing about, if he's quote unquote a pure receiver and all these other things, right? So I told him that, you know what, he doesn't listen, regardless if he's a top 5 receiver or not. To me, Deebo Samuels is the kind of guy that he's a top 5 OW to me. If that makes sense to me, like he's up there with the McCaffreys, the Tyreeks, the whatever you guys want to say as far as like that can make a defense get scared. Deebo's that kind of guy. He's turned into a more complete receiver this year, obviously because of his numbers, but I don't really care if he's a true pure receiver or whatever that means by some people's metrics. Like I can't really care. He's a playmaker.
He's a weapon. He's a playmaker and he's a weapon, and it really doesn't matter, right? As long as you get the ball in his hands. That's really all that it comes down to. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so it just sort of annoys me that people try to still, like, obviously he's getting the right recognition this year, but still, I hate the fact that he has to be a pure receiver in your guys' eyes for him to get that respect that he demands, So I guess that's one of the things that is sort of bugging me that's still out there. And as far as, let me think. Oh, Jimmy's Jimmy. Okay. There was actually something on my mind. There was something on my mind.
Well, let's talk. Well, while you're thinking, let's talk about Deebo for another second. Okay. Well, I don't want to make you lose your train of thought. We can go back to Deebo.
No. I'll remember it.
Okay. So let's say a team comes calling. They say, we'll give you a 1st round pick for Deebo. This is this upcoming draft. Say it's a team and I don't know, between 12 and 15. I don't know who that is, but somebody says, we'll give you a 1st round pick this year for Deebo Samuel. Obviously, we know Deebo is about to get paid, right? So you have the option to not pay Deebo and take a 1st round pick or just pay Deebo. What are you doing?
In that scenario, is it a top 10 pick?
Nope, 12 to 15.
No, I don't want it. I don't want it. If it's not a top 10 pick, it's not that I don't respect that offer and I wouldn't take some time to think about it. The thing is that there's just certain players that you just Deebo's a franchise guy to me that I would want to keep here. Kittle is more of that kind of guy that I would trade away rather than Deebo. Now I get it that Kittle is more important as far as blocking goes and other things of that nature, but to me, there's something about Deebo that he's too special for me to give up. And Kittle, you are special too, but Kittle, you're injured. I think that there are tight ends that aren't in that tier that are still exceptional, that are outside of that tier of him and Waller and so on and so forth. But I think that, I don't care for a Kelsey, and Kittle is nice, but I rather have someone like Deebo on my team. And it's honestly just preference at that point. If anybody was to argue with me, well, no, we should trade him away. It's fine if you want to trade him away because I understand if it was a top 10 pick, I would think about trading him away. But if it's anything lower than that, no, I don't want to because to me he's too special. They're just people out there that you can't teach them to be a dog. You can't teach them to be a dog. Go ask Jimmy Garoppolo if he's a dog whenever he gets hit or if he gets hurt. You know who's a dog? Is Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a dog. You can try to copy Tom Brady, Jimmy. You could try to, pretend to be cool with the guys and to try to motivate all you want. But when you piss off Tom Brady and he gets in those critical moments, that's a dog. And to me, those kinds of people are very special to have on it. They're unique. They're special, and I think that having them on the team does way more good than just to have a good player such as George Kittle. So in my opinion, you're gonna have to give me a top 10 pick if I'm gonna trade that kind of guy away. But that's just how I feel about it, and I don't really care if anybody disagrees with me or not because it's everybody's opinion. I don't think either side is outlandish to say.
Let me ask you this? So somebody in the chat. J-Tan says Devontae Adams is a free agent next year. His hometown is in Palo Alto. So if Devontae Adams says, I am coming to the 49ers, obviously we're going to have to pay him, right? We're going to give him top premium money. And then would you trade Deebo for that first?
And in this example, what Debo just got breast cancer too. I mean, what's going on here? You know,
I'm just saying, like,
No.
let's
Okay.
let's think about it. You know,
Okay. If I'm thinking about this, right?
Mhm.
So how much do I look at, Adams and how much he benefits from Aaron, and how would we use Adams in this whole example here? How would we use Adams compared to Debo? Because in this system, you can't convince me that Jimmy's going to use Adams, more than he would use Debo. But if we're talking Trey Lance now there's a window for opportunity here. Now it depends on Kyle more than anybody else on if Devontae would make more sense to be here or not. It's really on Kyle.
Yeah, that's
Now
true.
we have seen though that Jimmy doesn't see people down the field. Obviously the Ayuk play, where Dwally gave up that block and it was holding anyways. So you have plays like that where I can see, well, if Adams is here and Lance can see that quicker than Jimmy, it would make sense. So yeah, I would rather have Adams. I'd rather have Adams.
All right. I'm just saying, listen, you get Devontae Adams. If you're going to pay one receiver, pay him, get a first round pick for Debo. Listen, I'm literally looking at a Debo. I'm literally looking at a Debo signature like that I just picked up 2 weekends ago. And he's my favorite player on the team, but at the same time, it's team over player, it's just the way it's got to be.
Big time. And I'm loving, what Debo's doing this year and everything. And I just hope that, he's just not that kind of guy that will just take the money and then all of a sudden it's like, bro, why are you being, deficient this season, after the fact, So I hope that I don't think that will happen with him. The only thing I do question though is the health. Just because he could be healthy this season doesn't guarantee you that it's going to be like this forever, because fantasies are one thing, reality is another. And I guess that's just how I feel about Debo right now. I love watching him. He's a great playmaker, and it doesn't matter to me if he's a pure receiver or not. He's an OW, top 5 in my opinion, OW, and I can't care less about what you think he is and whatnot. So, and you know what? To go on to the thing I was going to ask you, what do you feel about people's perception of Jimmy after this game? Because I'm starting to get pissed off at this. How do you even explain it? Okay. Why all of a sudden Jimmy's getting this support? Why all of a sudden have you guys all got comfortable? Why are you guys so damn soft that all of a sudden Jimmy's the guy now? Why? What do you think that is, Jesse? What do you think it is? Like, what is it?
Well, listen, I mean, I think people have narratives, right? Whatever that is, they've got a narrative, and you've got this crowd of Jimmy G disciples that we're waiting for this, right? They wanted 2019 Jimmy back so they can say that I told you so, and the offensive woes haven't been on Jimmy. Once the throws are there, he makes them. This is what they've been waiting for, and unfortunately for them, they've been waiting since week 1 to see it. So now that they saw it, they want to say, I told you so. Jimmy to me looked like Jimmy. I mean, if I pull up his passing chart, again, he had nothing outside the numbers past 10 yards. That's what Jimmy does. He did have that deep throw to Debo was the best throw that I've seen him make in a 49er uniform. And that's not, I don't think that's an overreaction. I think
kind of throw.
Yeah, for him. Yeah. I really think it was. Yeah, for real it was. So, for me, that's the way that I saw it with Jimmy. It is what it is. I tweeted out as soon as the game it was like, I don't know, middle of 4th quarter or whatever. I said, Jimmy's played well enough to get a 4th round pick. Trade him now. That was my thoughts on it, but obviously they weren't going to do that.
I wish I could have called into Jack's show, because I was on the Twitter Spaces, and you know how it is when we're in there, man. It's great to listen to people.
I love it.
That are worthy of listening to, and I was mad because I missed his show, because I wanted to ask him, like, bro, what is up with you and Twitter and me thinking that you like Jimmy? Like, for everybody out there, I respect Jack's opinion, but there's something that I feel with Jack that I wanted to ask him was, bro, do you like Jimmy? Yes or no? God damn it. Because I'm getting tired of you. I don't know where you land on this whole, are you with the Jimmy crowd? Are you with Trey Lance? Are you just in the middle? because sometimes you don't look like you're in the middle. Sometimes you feel like a low-key Jimmy stan. Like sometimes when I'm looking at your tweets, I'm like, bro, are you Jack? So you give Trey all this smoke, but Jimmy is now accepted in some areas where I'm just like, bro, come on, Jack. Like, and it's just like, I don't think Jack's a bad guy. And I think that maybe it's a subconscious thing with Jack, but I don't think he realizes, but low key, you sound like a Jimmy supporter. Sometimes you do, Jack. And I hope he's listening, because I don't mean to talk behind anybody's back, because I really did want to call into a show, but it pisses me off that I keep seeing the inconsistency of slander going to one guy rather than another. It's like, bro, you can't tell me that Jimmy just did amazing in this game. And why are you telling me to be happy? Why should I be happy that we beat the Bears? Why? Look at our record. Like, what are you talking about? Like, just be happy that we won and we're Niners. Like, no, I'm not going to be happy. You want me to just to be happy that we have 5 Super Bowls already and we can't improve from that? Like, come on, dude. Like, why would you expect? I never watched any of those Super Bowls to begin with. Why would you expect me, out of all these damn people, to be happy with our history rather than wanting to develop a quarterback to get us another? It really pisses me off with that. It just does.
I'm gonna answer your question about Jack, but I'm gonna do it with a comment in here. But let me answer this one real quick. Bigfoot's mom says, Jesse, do you want Kittle traded? No, I don't want Kittle traded. I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, we got to trade Kittle. But what I am saying is if somebody's willing to offer a first round pick, I'm doing that in a heartbeat. I mean, listen, he's getting closer to 30. He can't stay healthy. I love Kittle, but and I'm not necessarily actively looking to get rid of him. But if the right offer comes, for anybody, that's anybody on this team. That's, top down. Shanahan said it himself. If the right offer came from me, I would hope that John Lynch would trade me. Well, I hope John Lynch trades you too. But anyways, I digress on that one. Eric Higa says, Jack wanted Mac Jones and he makes sure that everyone knows it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it comes down to, right, Pinor? So, he did like Trey, but Trey was a secondary guy. I think that Mac's obviously playing really well. And so I think that, and it's not on purpose, right? Because Jack is a 49er fan. And Jack I also think Jack is, first of all, Jack's a brilliant mind. So that's that.
He is.
Jack and I have our show together. I respect the hell out of Jack, but on Twitter, he definitely plays a little bit of a heel role when it comes towards Trey Lance a little bit. And I enjoy it. We definitely go back and forth and have some fun. But yeah, I think, that's where the bias comes in, right? Like my bias is towards Trey Lance. I don't think anybody who follows me knows that I love Trey Lance. He was a guy that I pegged to be the best quarterback out of all the guys in the draft outside of maybe Lawrence. So yeah, I'm going to be biased towards him. And his bias is towards Mac Jones. And now,
he won't
Mac
admit
Jones
his bias. Well. He won't admit his bias, would he?
Yeah, I don't know if he would or he wouldn't.
See, I want to. Can you call him to bring him on and you can ask him? Because it really bugs the hell out of me that every time because Jack is a fair guy with his analysis, right?
He is.
But there's sometimes where I'm on Twitter, I'm just like, why are you saying this? Like, it's like I can't even think of something in particular. But it gets to me that and now it makes sense. It is probably his bias, and I hope he's listening, because Jack, you have a bias, and if you don't agree with us, then that's fine. But I think you have a bias, damn it, and your bias is that Mac Jones is doing good right now with the Patriots. That out of all the rookie quarterbacks, I think that there's some areas where Mac Jones is doing the best, right? In some areas, not all areas. We could say whoever you guys want to say, but at the end of the day, thank you, Jesse, for letting me know that Jack is biased because of Mac Jones. And
not my words, your words. But I do listen. Okay, no, I do. I think it's not on purpose, right? But I think that it's a natural. It's just something that happens naturally. He thinks that Mac Jones was the guy. And right now he looks really good on that, right? Like if we're 8 games into year number 1, Mac Jones is the best quarterback, but it's not about year number 1. It's not about 8 games in and come talk to me in year 3. That's what I've been telling everybody. Wait until year 3, then come talk to me. Until then, I don't want to hear none of it. I don't want to hear any of it because Mac Jones is 2 years older, 2.5 years older than Trey Lance. Like, get out of my face with that garbage.
Well, it's just like Mac Jones is like I don't get me wrong. I don't mind him as much as other people did in the offseason. I just didn't want to pick him, bro. It's like I can care less about Mac Jones. And you know what? Hopefully he does good somewhere else. But, for me, I want Lance, and if it ain't Lance, I want Fields. Because I don't need the McCorkles, and I don't hate him. I honestly like watching them, and seeing
if
how
the
he plays
49ers
the
had stayed
game.
at 12 and got Mac Jones, I'd have been fine with it. Like, I'll just say that, right? But when you move up to 3, it's got to be Lance or it's got to be Fields, period. There's no other option. So I agree. All right, brother, I got to get to the next one. I appreciate you calling in as always. Yeah, those Twitter spaces are fun though, right?
Yeah, I'm going back to them. I'll watch you at the same time. I can lie. But yeah, everybody have an average night. And yeah, go Trey Lance, baby.
Later. Steve-O Supremo, what the hell are you talking about? I seen what you did. Not cool. I don't enlighten me. I'm very curious to know what you're talking about. All right, I'm gonna go to Niner Empire DMV. Runs his own Facebook. I think I'm a part of it now. I tried to join. I think I got accepted. How you doing, my man?
Hey, what's up? How's everything going?
Good, man. It's been a couple weeks since I talked to you. How you been? How's everything?
All right, I'm just happy we got the W. That's all you can be happy about. I mean, oh man, whew. Jimmy G is just Jimmy G. Yeah.
Jimmy G doing Jimmy G things. Real quick, let me answer this real quick. Steve-O Supremo, listen, I didn't block you, so I don't know what to tell you. Not really sure. Anyways, okay, yeah. Listen, Jimmy G doing Jimmy G things. You. It sounds like you weren't impressed.
I mean, think about it. We're playing the Bears, man. The Bears are not a competitive team like that. Yeah, they're an NFL player. They're an NFL team, but at the same time, we were slated to beat the Bears. And my thing is, we struggled with them until the end of the first half. So I don't know what clicked. I mean.
Listen, they struggled with them into the third quarter. Let's not forget that they were down. The Bears came down and got a field goal and went up 16-9 to start that third quarter. So
exactly. So I mean, like it gets to a point where it's like a lot of fans, even when we was in the Twitter space earlier, like it's just a lot of people say the same thing. It's like, you got to be happy for the W. We're still in it. I said, I still want to see Trey Lance get some type of work in. Like, I mean, it's to the point now is we're going to go week by week. If Jimmy has a good game, then the question is, let's start Trey Lance. Then it's, Jimmy G had a good week this week. Okay, we're going to continue with Jimmy G. Now, this week he's going against Colt McCoy. And Colt McCoy is a serviceable backup. So don't think because Kyler not playing that Colt McCoy can't get the job now. See, it's all on Jimmy G and the fact that we're playing at home, and we ain't won at home, a whole year?
Okay. Yes.
I mean, you really think about it, like, will Jimmy G be the same? Can he play the same way he played last week in this current week? That's the question. And the bad thing is, I want to have faith, but I've seen him lose games like this. Have a good game, and then get in a game where you think he should do good, and he drops. He just throws picks, inconsistent. And then it's the question, well, when should they put Trey Lance in? You either going to put him in or you're not. It's just that simple. Like when Kyle made that comment that said, when we're out of playoff contention, then we'll talk about playing Trey Lance. Well, look at how Justin Fields got better every week. And look how he played against us. Looking at Justin Fields this past Sunday, I was like, man, that could be Trey Lance right there.
Okay, let me say this because I think you bring up a hell of a point. So people are saying that's Jimmy G's best game since 2019 New Orleans, right? So let's say that's the case. So if that's Jimmy G's best game since 2019 New Orleans, that's basically as good as Jimmy G gets. Jimmy G at his best compared to what I just saw from Justin Fields 6 games into his career, I'm taking that version of Justin Fields over the Jimmy G that we saw on Sunday. That's the difference. Like the max Jimmy G versus what's probably going to end up a 7 out of 10 Justin Fields in his rookie year, 6 games in. I'm taking that Justin Fields, which, by the way, I think Trey Lance is better than Justin Fields. So that's why Trey Lance should be playing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like some of the plays that they ran, a lot of the bootlegs they ran, a lot of the rollouts they ran. We can run that with Trey Lance. Like, I mean, he can make them same throws. So it's like I think that's the issue with the kind of the realistic fans is like we could have been playing Trey Lance this whole time. He could have been getting developed. Like, how do we not know that Trey Lance playing in the Seahawks game the whole game would have won that game? How do we not know if Trey Lance started in the beginning of the season, he wouldn't have won the games that we won already? Like, he would have made a difference in a couple of games we lost. Like, I mean, it's a question now. It's like seeing that Justin Fields and how he played against our defense. I'm like, man, Trey Lance could do that, and I think he could do better.
Listen, seven games in, Trey Lance, the rest of the season looks a lot more fun, right? Like if Trey Lance had played 7 games and we saw him improving game to game to game, just like we just saw with Fields, hell yeah, the season looks a lot more fun to round it out. So yeah, listen, I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think that's when we had that conversation in the Twitter space, and the guy kept asking, like, can Trey Lance learn from Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, I mean, he can learn how to be a pro, but to really learn how to really take the day by day, like he has to get experience by being in the line of fire. He's not going to learn that playing against the scout team. He's not going to learn by just playing in practice. He has to play in the game and actually get the experience like he did in the Cardinals game. He has to keep going through that to go through his trial and errors. Every rookie quarterback that has been starting, they have shown glimpses of getting better because they're going through their bumps and bruises now. So when they go in their second year, they're not making that same mistakes they were making their first year. And I really do feel as though Kyle Shanahan wanted to roll out Jimmy G, get some draft stock for him so we can trade him. But that backfired. So now you just basing it off of, well, we just gonna go week by week. And I feel as though you can do that, but you're hindering Trey from really getting his developments. And at the end of the day, that's the key. If Trey can get his development as fast as possible, he can become a better pro and he can get the experience so he can really take over this team and take over this offense. So that's my only problem with it. It's like I want to see him get more experience, and him having gadget plays and stuff where he's using his legs and mobility, that's not getting him experience. I need him to be under center. I need him to be running play actions and running stretches and being able to dissect the defense.
What do you think? Okay, so let's say the 49ers have started Trey Lance since week 1, and I did throw up the Twitter poll. Will the 49ers record be the same, worse, or better to this point?
I think it could have been better because he gives you a triple threat. You don't know whether he's going to hand the ball off. You don't know whether he's going to throw. You don't know whether he's going to run. And if you look at that Seahawks game, if he would have started that whole game, I think he could have won that game. The Green Bay game, he had to come in at the end of the first half to even get us a score and get us started. Lions game, the Lions defense. Look at what the Lions are right now. Like, I think that would have been a great game for him to play. The first game of the season where he could have really got experience is against the Lions. Like, I mean, it's so many possibilities you can look at. And I know a lot of people are like, well, no, he's still a rookie. Yeah, he's a rookie, but let him get his experience. But see, that's because people in the media and everybody said we were a playoff caliber or super caliber team coming out of the preseason. I never thought we was a Super Bowl caliber team. I thought we can be decent, but I wanted to develop Trey Lance and work him in to see if we can get to the playoffs with him. We've seen what we've seen from Jimmy G. This is the ceiling, like you said. If you're comparing the New Orleans game to the Chicago game, yeah, that's the reason why we lost Super Bowl there. If that's the case, remember that's a subpar defense that we played this past week, and they look decent against us in the first half and in the third quarter.
That's a fact.
Yak yards is what really helped us win that game. Debo being Debo helped us win that game. Nick Bosa doing his due diligence and getting pressure helped us win that game. You take Nick Bosa out of that game and not getting pressure. You take Debo out of not making that long yards after catch out of a screen. Are we really talking about we won that game?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're right about that. That game was circa 2019, was it not? I mean, that game had 2019 vibes because everybody played well that needed to play well, and Jimmy played his part. Like, there's no knock against Jimmy. Jimmy's a game manager. By the way, most quarterbacks in the NFL are game managers. So if I'm calling Jimmy that, there's a lot of other quarterbacks that I could say the same thing about. Now, there's some quarterbacks that do it better than Jimmy, for sure.
Mhm.
But saying somebody's a game manager that's not a knock. It is what it is. Like the whole hope of Trey, the whole reason Trey is here is because Trey is supposed to be a difference maker. And right now, Jimmy G's just never going to be a difference maker, right? Like he's just a net zero quarterback. Okay. So
He's not a
he'll lose
game
you one,
changer.
he'll win you one. He'll keep
Yep.
it even, but ultimately he's a net zero quarterback. Before I let you go, my guy, give me your score prediction for Sunday.
Ooh, depending on how we do, I would say 21-14. We win.
Okay. Do you think Kyler's gonna play?
No. If it's a high ankle sprains, one, if he's gonna be out for 3 weeks, that right there, it's gonna help him, but he's gonna deal with that high ankle sprain all season. Cause that's not an injury that just goes away. Like it takes a minute. I've had a high ankle sprain, so I understand it. So I don't think he's gonna play. I think Colt McCoy is gonna play. And don't be shocked if Colt McCoy looks decent. Don't be shocked. I'm telling people, don't be shocked. Colt McCoy has always been a good backup. He is a Gus Frerotte 2.0. Finds a way to be a good backup and always has a job because he can come in, be a good backup for a couple of weeks and then go back to being a backup.
Yeah, he's a lifetime backup. That's for dang sure. All right, man. Hey, listen, I'll catch you on Twitter Spaces.
All right, bet. All right, Jessie.
All right, man. Bet.
All right.
All right. I'm going to bring in Waruna. As I'm bringing in Waruna, I do want to address this comment. JC Montana says, Trey is 0-1 as a starter, and his woes helped lose that game. Listen, I'm all for a difference in opinion. Maybe you can call in. Maybe you can't. That'd be cool if you could. The link is in the description. But I don't think Jimmy wins that game. I mean, you're going to have to sell me on the fact that Jimmy somehow wins that game. Let's listen. For as much as Trey isn't quote-unquote ready to throw 83% of the game plan and have it all under Trey, they went a stretch to end the second quarter and start the third quarter where 24 of 27 plays were all on Trey Lance, whether he was running or passing. Come on, man. Like, in your first start, that was the game plan. That's what we expect. So Jimmy G has the benefit of throwing a lot of short passes, right? Trey Lance did not get that benefit in his game. By the way, Trey Lance this season, 67% passing, 10 yards and under, and that's with 3 drops. So if you give him that Jimmy gimme game plan, he can execute it. Plus you add in the running, listen, Trey needs to be playing. So I disagree with you wholeheartedly. I appreciate your opinion. I appreciate you supporting by watching. And by all means, if you can call in, let's have a conversation. All right, Waruna, what's up, my guy?
I'm doing good. How are you, Jessie?
I'm doing really good, man. 49ers won this week. Waruna, you took your first L in your predictions this year. Oh, my God. I know everybody was probably down your throat for that one. It's all right. Listen, I would rather take my first L in an actual 49er win, right? Like, I think that's a fair way to go.
Yes, true. So first thing is about Jimmy Garoppolo thing. We have 10 more games to go. So I would really like if we get to play all 10 games. I might have talked about this, not trying to troll or anything, but here's the reason why I'm saying it. We need something like natural progression or evolution. Now, let's say you are in a relationship with someone and you realize at the very after some time into the relationship, this is not going to work. But other person is still not willing to accept it. So if you try to end it now, there will be more chaos. So rather than doing it now, you just, even though it's painful for you, uncomfortable and whatnot, you are just letting it end eventually. Just let it end it naturally. So then the other person will understand, okay, this is why it did not work. Then they will have better understanding when they start a new relationship. So in this case, I mean the 49er fans who are still thinking after this game, Jimmy Garoppolo had two possible turnover-worthy plays. Luckily, he did not. Other team did not capitalize on that. We played against Bears, so win is a win, but still we played against Bears. So they need to realize what this team is, what this coach is. This is a team that is not lived up to the expectation as they advertised beginning of the season. So if Jimmy plays other 10 games, I'm not rooting for Jimmy to fail. But given the way that Jimmy is failing, I don't believe that Jimmy has played very good season up to this point other than the games he missed. I don't believe he has played well because other teams are catching him on really fast. I'm not sure, even though Cardinals are going to miss JJ Watt and Rams, the defenses are going to do it for Jimmy because the last game we didn't see any pass rush. Jimmy even could have had a coffee in the back end of the field just while before throwing a pass. So he had so much of time. I didn't see he's having that much of a time in the pocket until up to Bears game. So that is why I believe we should let Jimmy play. So then only the 49er fans will understand what this team is really thinking. So that was the first thing that I wanted to say.
While you were talking about a relationship and how fans keep coming back. I had to post this. I put it on Twitter. It's called the Jimmy G cycle. It goes like this. He plays like shit. The fans want him benched. Underdog mentality. He goes off against a bad team. Fans don't want him benched. And then it starts all over again. So that is the Jimmy G cycle. That's it in a nutshell. So basically what you were just talking about, you did it, well, definitely more eloquently than that that picture shows. But either way, that's what you're talking about.
So that's the first thing. The second thing about the interesting question you brought up today, whether we should trade Debo or not. The thing is, it can backfire. Right now, he's having a good season. But eventually, let's say, if we trade Debo, we might look like fools because of what, for example, Houston Texans, people basically do not count them as a team, especially their front office. People think they are a mess, they are a joke because they trade away all the good players. They trade away DeAndre Hopkins to Cardinals, and now he's having a hell of a season. So it can happen to us if we trade Debo. So that's why I am reluctant to trade Debo because he's the only guy carrying this offense. So other than that, we don't see any player, even though Kittle is supposed to be the best player. He's not on the field. Whatever the injuries Debo had during the past, this year he's proving, okay, I'm ready to carry this team. So I think it might be a bad decision if we decide to move away from Debo.
Okay, so let me throw out a couple scenarios out at you. So one of the things we talked about early is Debo Samuel for a first-round pick. Obviously, he's going to be due for a huge contract, especially if he finishes out this season and he's healthy, right? So you can pay Debo or you can trade him for a first-round pick. You're saying to pay Debo?
Yes, I would pay Debo because we don't have anyone else, right? Because even Shanahan is not willing to develop Brandon Ayuk. So we need to have at least Debo.
Okay, so then what about if Devontae Adams wants to come home and he's willing? Would you pay Devontae Adams before you would pay Debo? especially with Debo still on the roster and you could still trade him for that first round pick. What about that scenario?
The reason is probably Trey Lance going to start next year. Then he would not use Devontae Adams to his maximum potential in next year. So I believe then it would be a waste. Getting Devontae Adams, player like Devontae Adams, getting over here would be a waste because we will not have a quarterback that can use this guy to the maximum potential. Because we need a player type of Debo who can play as a wide receiver as well as a running back. Because he can't play as a 100% wide receiver because the way this offense works does not allow us to, the quarterback limitations does not allow us to use him as such. So I think it would be like you are playing for the full buffet, but you are just you are getting full with starters. So that it would be a kind of a scenario if we get Devontae Adams because we would be wasting that player.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I like it. I definitely like it. Before you get out of here, is there anything else you want to cover before I ask you for your game prediction? You obviously don't have to stick to the game prediction. I know you do. You know, you write it down.
Yes.
You do. You know, but you know, just early thoughts.
Early thoughts will depend on whether Kyler Murray is going to play or not. But still, again, if they can put up the Cardinals, whoever the backup quarterback is, if they can put up 20 points, I'm really interested to see how Jimmy Garoppolo is going to handle their defense, even without JJ Watt. You don't have to have like number one defense to shut down Jimmy. Packers showed us that you don't have to have number one defense to shut down Jimmy. So if that is the case, even with or without Kyler Murray, there is an opportunity that we might lose. But it's pretty hard to call at this time. Maybe I have to think about a bit. Maybe another couple of days.
All right. All right. Well, I'll be looking forward to the article because I got to know who you're picking this week. Does Waruna get back on track or does he start a, I don't know, monumental collapse, aka 49ers style? Does he go 4 straight losses like San Francisco did?
Yes. If those are 49er wins, I would be happy.
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, yeah, that would basically be it, right? Like they would, in that scenario, Waruna, they would have to beat the Rams because I know you're picking the Rams in that game. So,
yes.
With that being said, that's a good scenario to have, brother. I appreciate you calling in as always. I hope you have a fantastic night, and we'll talk soon. All right.
Okay. Have a good night, Jesse.
All right, later. All right, we're gonna go to Viet, and then we're coming to you, Tommy Huxley. What's up, Viet? How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Good to talk to you.
Yeah,
How
I
you
almost
been?
forgot about this. I turned on YouTube.
Just
like,
chilling back there. I know. I saw you relaxing back there. Obviously, nobody else can see the video, but I can. But yeah, you're just chilling back there, waiting for your turn.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna come up this quick. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about Jimmy a little. I mean, he looked in. I guess he played a good game. I don't know if he looked impressive because Debo did a lot of work there.
Yeah,
especially in that 3rd and 20. I mean, if we were saying that this is his best game since that Saints game, I think he played a lot better in the Saints game than in this game. So, like, if you're comparing, I don't even think it's because he was throwing dimes in that game to everybody, and this one he just, I guess, it was mostly all the yak. My thing is this going to be a hindrance? Because like if we keep getting this, then it's just going to give the coaches or the fans or whoever an excuse to keep rolling with this process where there's like false hope. I mean, sure. I mean, can we make the playoffs? Absolutely. But like if we make the playoffs and we know we're going to get bounced, what's the point anyway? I mean, if we made the playoffs with Lance and give Lance like playoff experience, I'm all for that, right? Go for the playoffs. But I'm not saying that we're tanking. I'm just saying that just play Lance for the experience. Because with Jimmy, like we've lost Verrett and we've lost Mostert. So with those, even with those two on the team, like it's a maybe that we win with Jimmy. Right? It's a big maybe, and because we already seen it happen. and it didn't work. So I'm hoping that's not the mindset, and I'm hoping that Lance will start against Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to happen. You're right though. I mean, this is that vicious cycle, right? Like how many times do we have to be on the brink of Trey Lance and then Jimmy does just enough to save his job? And you're right. I mean, let's just think about it, right? As 49er fans, you get to a wild card. All right, that's like, I guess that's better than not making the playoffs, but are they going to beat Dallas on the road? No, they're not going to beat Dallas on the road. Are they going to beat Tampa and Tampa? No, that's not going to happen. Are they going to beat the Rams in LA? No, that's not going to happen. I mean, those are the teams that you're going to play in round one. Are you going to beat Green Bay in Green Bay? Nope, that's not going to happen. So you're going to lose round one. Like, you can make it unless something crazy happens. Like, those other teams are super injured, their quarterback's out. I don't know, something, right? Which can happen. But most likely, that's who you're going to play in round one, is one of those teams on the road. You're not winning that. So, like, what are we holding on to here? I think what you're saying, Viet, and I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds to me like you're saying that experience for Lance is far more important than a first-round bounce with Jimmy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
I agree with you.
I mean, having one playoff game is so much better. Like, I feel like Lance can win in the playoff if let's say we break out the next year. Because, like, I've seen people break out, like Mahomes broke out, but like everyone was kind of nervous about how is he going to do in the playoffs. If he had like one playoff game before, I mean, obviously Mahomes just went crazy, so there's no doubt there. But for someone like Lance, like having just one playoff game of playing makes such a big difference for the development.
Oh, huge development. I mean, look at the beginning of the Arizona game to the end of the Arizona game. Now imagine 5, 6, 7 games in. You just saw what Justin Fields looked like. I mean, that Justin Fields looked really, really good. Again, Jimmy G at his best, right? Let's assume that Bears game is pretty much Jimmy's peak, maybe slightly better if you're saying the New Orleans game is better, right? But Jimmy G's at his best, right? And then you got this rookie quarterback who's in his 6th start, and Justin Fields, right? That's probably going to be a 7 out of 10 game for his career, right? I'm taking that 7 out of 10 game from Justin Fields over that Jimmy G game that we just saw. What Fields brought to the table was so dynamic, so different, so much better than what Jimmy G brought to the table in that game. Yes, it was in a losing effort, but he was playing with a much worse team without his head coach, everything. If that's what we're going to get out of Trey Lance in game 5 or 6, which, by the way, is pretty reasonable to think considering he looked way better when he first started versus when he played versus when Fields played in his first start. So listen, I'm taking that over what I got out of Jimmy G, period. That's just the way that it's going.
Yeah, and I think one positive that I got out of that game was that it looked like our identity came back. Like that touchdown run with Elijah Mitchell, where they just pushed the pile. That's 49ers football. That's what we do to people. We just truck them. That was probably the most impressive run of this Kyle Shanahan era, because it was just pure force and will of the O-line. So I thought our identity came back, at least for that game.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you. The identity is run the ball, play defense, run the ball, play defense. And those last 2 games, they're finally starting to get that identity back as far as running the ball. Now, they weren't able to take advantage of it as much in the Colts game. Weather had a lot to do with it. Jimmy G doing Jimmy G things had a lot to do with it. But if you get good weather, you get Jimmy at his best, maybe you can send 100 friends and family members to all the games so that he gets fired up. I don't know. Maybe you sit him down and tell him if he doesn't play good, he's going to get benched. Whatever it takes. But if you can get that out of Jimmy and you can get that run game, 49ers can still win some games for sure.
Cool. Appreciate it, man.
All right, brother. Hey, before you get out of here, what's your score prediction for this week?
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm always going to pick the Niners because I always do it in my pick'em league. Let's see. I say we win. I say we go. It's going to be an ugly game with some safeties in there. 25-20. Us.
25-20. All right. I love it, man. I appreciate it. Good call as always. Hopefully
man.
we talk
Appreciate
next Tuesday and it's another victory for us. All right, we're going to go to Chef Tommy, and then we're going to go to Roscoe's. Hey, Roscoe's is in the background. I like it. All right, can't wait to get to that one. For those of you that don't know, he's the one that makes all of the cover art for my Tuesday shows. So excited to have him on. Tommy, before I get to you, my guy, I just want to say to everybody watching, make sure that you hit like, make sure you subscribe. Definitely helps us out. We're trying to rebuild the channel. For those of you who don't know, this is the second go around. We had nearly 3,000 subscribers. We lost it all. So tomorrow there is a giveaway. So once you subscribe, go to the first video on the channel. It is titled Relaunch. Click on that. And then in the comments, say that you've subscribed. That'll enter you in to win $100 in fan gear. We're giving that away tomorrow. But make sure if you have not done so, you show love, you subscribe. That is the pitch. Mr. Tommy Huxley, how you doing, my guy?
What's up, Jesse?
How you been, man? It's been a while.
I know it's the first time calling in.
I know it is, but we're always talking on Grant's show, and I haven't been able to catch Grant live a lot. I still watch most of his stuff, but I usually catch it after the fact. So you know, our conversations have been few and far between. Hopefully everything's going good with you, man.
Yeah, I can't complain.
Good.
You didn't answer my question though.
What was the question?
Do you think the Bears are a way different team without Mac on defense?
Oh, yes, 1,000%. That was a gift from God himself that Mac wasn't playing in that game. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he had tons of time in the pocket, didn't he?
Oh, it looked like he was baking cakes and flipping burgers back there. Yes, he had plenty of time in the pocket.
Absolutely. I think that he's going to have some more time since J.J. Watt is gone because J.J. was freaking McGlinchey's daddy all game.
Oh, dude. Listen, that J.J. Watt injury, coupled with the Derrick Henry injury for that Titans game, man, those are some breaks that fell the 49ers' way. And again,
exactly.
You know, I definitely don't root for injury on anyone. That being said, when you're playing the 49ers, I have no sympathy. If every player on your team was injured, no sympathy. Because what the 49ers have had to go through the last couple of years, I do not feel sorry for you and your team and your roster.
We wouldn't be able to stop the run at all. Our run defense this year is just garbage. Because the defensive tackle position, obviously. I mean, we used to pride ourselves on stopping the run. Last year, actually, our run stopping was was better than 2019, honestly. Because I don't think Buckner wasn't good at stopping the run. We gave up a lot of run plays in 2019. A lot of rushing touchdowns, actually.
Yes, you're right about that. I mean, that's really it. I mean, even in 2019, to your point, you know, the run defense had its issues for sure. Mm-hmm. It's not as if this defense was a perfect defense. You could gash them. You could gash them, especially up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me ask you this, Tommy. This is a question I've been asking everybody. So Deebo Samuel, right? You know he's going to get paid after this year. Let's assume he stays healthy. Let's hope he stays healthy. And he's going to put up some big numbers. So you're going to have to pay Deebo Samuel after this year going into, 2 years from now, what have you. Yeah. So Deebo Samuel, if a team comes to you this offseason and says, hey, before you pay him, we will give you a first-round pick. What are you doing? Are you trading Deebo or are you keeping Deebo and paying him?
I don't know. That'd be keep me interested, actually. I'd be interested in the first round, but
yeah.
But they're just gonna choose another bust, like.
Touche, my friend. You're probably right about that.
But I mean, Kinlaw's not a bust. His knee is a bust.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, unfortunately, that makes you a bust, right?
Like, yeah, I guess so.
It doesn't matter for whatever reason if you don't live up to expectation. I mean, that's then you are what you are. So yeah, it's unfortunate. We'll see. Hopefully he can come back. I have my reserves, but we'll see what happens with that.
Man, I was hoping that your take on the Rams this year was going to be right. That you weren't high on them, but now they're rolling, and I'm just my worst nightmare is coming true. They might hit the Super Bowl this year. Who can beat him, really, besides the Cardinals? But
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll take credit for the Cardinals because I said they'd finish second in the division, but I was definitely wrong about the Rams. I had them pegged either third or last, and that's not the case at all.
well, I was dead wrong about. I was calling the Cardinals to be last because I have no respect for the coach. But I've been telling everybody that they're great in spite of, Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, well, listen, they smashed in a game that with Cliff Kingsbury out. I mean, he's the least important guy on that team. That's for
sure. Yeah, and I'm not, and just because Kyler's not playing, I mean, they still have Chandler Jones, and they still have one of the best safeties in the league, Budda Baker, and you know how Jimmy loves to throw to open linebackers.
Yeah. Oh, that's a fact. Yeah, he does. He loves his linebackers. Listen, if we had a linebacker playing offense, that'd be the best thing for Jimmy for sure.
I know. Oh, I really like that pattern, the Jimmy pattern. I didn't even think of that.
It's true though, right? Like Jimmy plays like garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Then the fans want him benched. Then he gets an underdog mentality. He goes off against a bad team, aka the Bears. Now fans want him. It is what it is. Like that's the Jimmy G cycle. It's been here now for quite some time.
Well, I respect his ballsy rushing touchdowns because he's not. What is that, like a career high? 2 rushing touchdowns in one game?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, Jimmy. I will say this. Whether it's been good or it's been bad, the one thing you can't say about Jimmy is he's definitely played with some urgency this year, and he knows what's going on. This is his last year, and he wants his last year to actually be a full season. So he's doing the best he can. Unfortunately for Jimmy, his best is probably not going to be good enough to keep him in all season. But maybe it is. So far, so good for him, I guess. I mean, he's the guy. So we'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see Trey Lance play, but I'm wondering how many times Jimmy would have got sacked in that Cards game since the offensive line was playing terribly.
Well, listen, I mean, if the game plan was let's go 5 wide all game for Jimmy the way it was for Trey and put 83% of that game in his hands, Jimmy would have been broken.
Mm-hmm. I think, and then I guess the theory based on that, it was a new style. I guess he was scrambling so much, so they had to hold the line longer. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Listen, I think there was like three plays in that game, if I remember correctly, that I put on Trey Lance as far as maybe holding the ball a little bit too long. But out of 35 dropbacks, it's not the worst for a first-time starter. That's for sure.
Like all his yards from scrambling were great, but just the design runs were terrible. They were stupid. Those runs up the middle that went nowhere. The quarterback power, is that what they're called?
Yeah, quarterback power. Yeah. They spammed that one, didn't they? Hey, before you get out of here, man, what's your score prediction for this Sunday?
I'm going to call the win for the Niners. I know I shouldn't because every time I call every game, actually the ones I've been right were the last 2. No, before this one, the Colts I said we're going to lose, and then what was the game before that? The Cardinals. I said we were going to lose that one, but I think we're going to win by 3 points. I think it's going to be like 24-21 Niners.
Okay, I like it. Listen, it's crazy because I actually last week we had almost everybody was picking the Bears to win, which was kind of crazy. I thought for sure the 49ers would win that one, but it was heavy Bears crowd. This week it seems to be a little bit more 49ers. So, maybe that's some optimism. Hopefully everybody's right. I personally think that the 49ers win this one as well. So I don't know about the Rams. I think we probably lose that one. Yeah, listen, we'll talk about that next week. But good chances are they're not winning that game. That's going to be a whole different ball game. They want revenge. It's 4 years, or not 4 years, 4 games straight they lost. So well, listen, Debo Debo might hear it from old Donald because those two go back and forth on social media. And
do they? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, listen, if Donald gets the win, then I'm sure Debo's going to hear it. So I'm not looking forward to that one. That's for sure.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, brother. Hey, you have a good night. Thanks for calling in. It was good to hear from you. And,
yeah, great talking to you. I'm trying to call in more often.
Yeah, man. Every
busy
Tuesday.
lately.
We do this every Tuesday. So if you can call in, that'd be fantastic, brother.
Right on.
All right, man.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Later. All right. I'm going to Mr. Roscoe. This is the guy who makes the cover art for all of the Tuesday shows. Love to have him calling in. Thank you for being patient, my guy. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? Oh, I'm chilling, man. Enjoying the night. It's super late out there where you at, 11:38, right?
Yeah, East Coast, man, 11:38. You know, I usually do this till 12:30, 1 o'clock. So, you know, I'm in it for the long haul.
Gee, hey, I can't knock the grind. I can't knock the hustle.
I appreciate it.
When I was on the East Coast, I was up all I was up all night actually. I was in New York because I went to the Philly game, and I was up all night. So I guess same here.
Well, listen, I mean, being from the West Coast, I mean, imagine, right? Like
3 hours, yeah.
I lived in the West Coast for 35 years, and I moved here 3 years ago. So now imagine all my teams are West Coast teams, right? I'm a Portland Trailblazer fan, an Oregon Duck fan, a 49er fan. And, you know, these games are on super, super late. Not to mention, I mean, you and I talk boxing, UFC. So I'm watching all those fights. Those don't end till 1, 2 in the morning.
I don't even see you talk boxing a lot, man. You need to start talking more boxing.
I would love to do like some boxing shows and whatnot, but it just, you know, I did the MMA thing for a little bit, and people come here expecting NFL from us. They expect 49ers in particular. And so anytime you kind of branch out, you just don't get the love for it. It's a passion of mine. I love it. I could talk it all night, but it's just not, it doesn't get the views. And I got limited shows in me a week. So I gotta keep the most coming out of them.
That makes sense. I'll ask you this, and then we'll touch on the Niners. Who do you got out of Canelo and Plant this weekend?
Canelo's gonna rearrange that dude's face, especially after that press conference. Oh my gosh, Canelo's gonna make short work of him. I don't think it goes past 7.
I agree with you. Yep, Canelo is. I think Canelo has perfected the art of boxing right now, and I don't think he's going to lose for the next 2 to 3 years. So folks just better start enjoying it and stop criticizing.
Yeah, listen, Canelo's a whole different ballgame. That man is he's an all-time great. Like, we're watching greatness right now. Yeah, he had that loss to Floyd, but first of all, Floyd's a G. We already know what Floyd's made of. And Floyd's smart. Like, Floyd knew the kid was probably too young for that fight to really kind of stick in there with him. He caught him at the right time. That was the best thing for Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo is just on an absolute tear since then. He's incredible.
Like Canelo said, I treated that as an apprenticeship, and I got what I needed, learned, and leveled up. I always knew that fight was going to make him better, so I never had a problem with that. And Mayweather was pretty much, up in the age too, so folks was like, he fought a younger guy who, I was scared for Mayweather to fight him, but it all worked out for both of them. But anyways, I gotta come on here and debate you now.
Okay, let's do it. I love it. I love good debate.
So it wasn't the last caller, but the caller before that you were talking with, and you said that and the caller too. He was like, "Oh, I'd rather see Trey than us make the playoffs and be a 1-round bounce." Now, I said this on Spaces earlier today, and I'm gonna say it again. We do not know if we're just a one and done football team. You never know what happens in the NFL. Teams get hot at the right time and go on runs. Teams that you never expect. Nobody at the time when Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl, nobody expected the Packers to go and reel off 4 wins in a row. Nobody expected the Giants to reel off 4 wins in a row twice. Nobody expected the Ravens to win the time that they won it. Matter of fact, even the Buccaneers, yes, they had the greatest quarterback of all time, my favorite player. Everybody knows I'm biased 100% towards Brady. But nobody was really picking the Bucs to go to the Super Bowl especially after they got spanked by the Saints twice. They got spanked by the Chiefs. They got spanked by pretty much all the good teams. And so it's like you never know what can happen. Anything can happen in this game of football. And so I do understand this team has a lot of holes. They have struggled. They lost 4 in a row, even though that Giants team lost 4 in a row and won the Super Bowl. So you never know. But again, it's like I rather try to make the playoffs, especially if I'm getting on Kyle for never making the playoffs and having only one winning season in 4 years and on his way to possibly having one winning season in 5 years. Then I have to keep that same energy and be like, well, I want you to make the playoffs because I can't use that against you. So I'm of the mindset, if we have an opportunity to make the playoffs, let's make the playoffs, because anything can go down in the playoffs. And I'll be willing to bet that if we can run the ball and if we can just stop the run, if we can get better at stopping the run, the sky's the limit for our football team.
But Roscoe's, I think you and I would agree on this one. We also don't think it's punting the season by playing Trey, or at least I don't. And I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. Like, this team, just because they play Trey, is not automatically taking themselves out of that playoff hunt, right? So like that's the thing right there is, like, I feel like you can really have your cake and eat it too in this scenario. But that ship is going to sail eventually, right? You had that first week that was perfect. I mean, everybody expected them to beat the Lions. Everybody expected them to beat the Eagles. So that was a good spot. Then you had the Jimmy G injury. If Trey Lance could have stayed healthy, maybe he comes out and he starts after the bye week. By the way, I think he beats the Colts just because the weather in that game, his arm strength would have been able to fight through that weather. Plus you add in the mobility. I think that could have been enough to win. But even if they lost that game, if he was the starter going forward, I just feel like every single snap that Trey gets under his belt, he's getting better. But again, I think that window is closing. You only got a couple more weeks now where you can actually make this move. Maybe after the Rams game, that's pretty much your last chance. And then after that, it's, you are turning it over to a rookie who, it's the end of the season. Chances are he's not going to get up to speed quick enough. So, but that's just it, is like, ultimately in my heart, I don't feel like they're punting the season just by playing Trey. So I think you can get the best of both worlds. But if I know for sure, hey, it's wild card and you're losing, or Trey develops, I'm taking that development. But you're right. I mean, once you're in, anything can happen. I think on paper right now, none of us would take them against Dallas, Tampa, LA, or Green Bay. But maybe, just maybe, you go play Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers is hurt. You never know what can happen. You're right about that.
I would say this. I agree with some of the things you did say. Now, and I would say this too, especially about Trey Lance, because I want to see Trey Lance start. But the time that they start him is the time that they start him. We got to remember this. There's arguments on both sides. There are players who started right away and they learned. There's players who started right away and it took them year 1, year 2, year 3 to learn. And then there's players who sat and learned. There is no right way in doing this. But I will say this. Trey Lance will have all the off-season snaps. I said this on Spaces yesterday too. He will have all the off-season snaps. He will have all the mini camp snaps. He will, and we have a couple of those, mandatory, non-mandatory. He'll have all the training camp snaps, and then he'll have all the snaps during the weeks in the season. So he's going to get better, and he's already had game experience. He started one game. Possibly he's going to start a couple of other games this year. That's going to help him a lot. Matter of fact, Mahomes, he started one game. It was the final game of the season. That's all he needed. All he needed was that little experience. Boom, gets all the snaps the following year. Boom, we all know what happened. I'm not saying Trey Lance is Mahomes, because people will try to run with that. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that.
Mr. Roscoe said.
What I'm saying is, my name is Chris. Overall, my name is Chris. But
no, that's fine. I know it's Chris, but I want to make sure. I don't know. Whatever. If you care, if you don't care, I'll call you Chris. I prefer it.
Oh yeah, no, I don't care. Yeah, you call me Chris. Call me. Yeah, Roscoe's just a Twitter thing. I want people to call me my real name. but anyways, like he'll have all the opportunities, and that's all I want to see. I want to see him get the opportunities, and if it starts 2 games this year, I'm okay with that, or even 3 games, because we have that one in Arizona. If he starts 2 games to finish the season, I'm happy with that. As a matter of fact, if he does start against the Rams in LA, I will be there. I'm gonna be there. And so I think if we have him starting and getting his little 2 starts, 3 starts this season, and going into the next season, he's gonna have the reins. Because got to remember, he got first team snaps a couple of times in training camp, and then through the season, you know how it goes. I mean, he only got that 1 week, so the progress, the growth, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and at the end of the day, I seen something. It's like it's up to the player. The player is the biggest reason if they're going to grow or not. The NFL, it all comes down to work ethic, and those who will put in the work to get better. The thing that separated Brady, he's the most prepared player in the league. Every single player talked about it. Croc had a couple of spaces, and a couple of NFL guys who played with him or played against him. They talked about it. You had Leonard Fournette. He spoke about it. Said Tom Brady is the most prepared player he's ever seen. He knows things you're going to do, even plays they haven't run. He already knows how the defense is going to play it. So preparation is key. And I think for Jimmy, I think for Trey Lance, he's learning some things right now. Even sitting on the bench, he can learn some things. He even said it. He said he's learning how to be a pro. That's one of the biggest things you got to learn. I mean, what happened with Henry Ruggs today. You got to learn how to be a pro. You got to learn how to conduct yourself off the field. In the NFL, it's more than just conducting yourself on the field, because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't conduct yourself off the field, then what do we need you for?
That's one of the best things about Trey Lance, by the way, right? Like you just talked about the preparation, the Brady preparation. Trey Lance, I feel like is going to be that guy. Like this is a sharp kid who works his ass off. And, talk about conducting yourself off the field. I feel like he comes with a great background, great upbringing, hard work ethic. I feel like he's the total package. That was a big reason, why it was so important to me that we got the kid. And I think Fields was good too. That was, that was another thing, like the whole Mac Jones, and nobody wanted to talk about it, whatever, we can talk about the reasons later, but, the DUI thing, like when Mac Jones was 19, he was getting drunk and getting DUIs. When Trey Lance was 19, he was winning national championships and having the best season ever at the FCS level. So, there's a difference there.
Yeah, man, look, Trey Lance had to fight. Remember, they wanted him to play what, safety coming out of high school?
Yep.
He's always had to fight. And I think Colin Cowherd, he did a show, and he showed a couple of he was going through all the quarterbacks and how a lot of these guys, especially the good ones, had to fight all their life, and said maybe there are some outliers like Peyton Manning, but Brady, he had to fight. Brady, they didn't want Brady at Michigan. They wanted Drew Henson, bro.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Russell Wilson, he was forced. They said Colin was like he was forced out of North Carolina State. I remember North Carolina State because they want to start Drew Glennon. Or what is it? It was Glennon? Mike Glennon, I think. I forgot.
Mike Glennon, yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to start Glennon. And so, what's his name? Went to go play baseball and then came back and went to Wisconsin. A lot of these quarterbacks that we see had to fight to get to the level they had to get to. And so, I think Herbert, when he was coming out of high school, I'm sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure not a lot of teams wanted him like that, So
no, he was an Oregon homegrown guy. Not many teams wanted him. He stayed in Oregon. Yeah. He was from Oregon. local high school kid. Yeah, he wasn't highly touted coming out of high school. You're right about that.
Yeah. So, man, a lot of these guys, they had to fight, and that's one thing I like about Trey. He was doubted coming out, and he had to come in. He wasn't even the one that was supposed to start at North Dakota State. It was somebody else that they picked to start in front of him. I think they brought in a transfer or something like that.
They brought in a transfer, yep.
So I like that. My quarterback knows what it is to have to put in the hard work. So, he knows he's got some doubters right now. That's cool. Give him all the reps. Give him all the reps. He's going to be different. I promise you, he's going to be a different breed next year.
I feel that. Hey, before I let you go, hell of a call, by the way. I could do this all night with you, but I got people waiting. Before I let you go, what's your score prediction for this Sunday?
I never pick my Niners to lose. Anybody in the chat, I don't believe in picking my team to lose. I have to see them lose. I don't ever believe my team should lose a game. But I say 49ers 27, Cardinals 23. Jimmy, 2 touchdown passes, and Elijah Mitchell 145 yards rushing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna say that. And Debo 130. No. Okay. Matter of fact, Ayuk is gonna lead us in receiving this week.
Okay, Ayuk's gonna lead us in receiving. Okay, all right. I like it. Listen, if Ayuk leads the 49ers in receiving, that's a good sign because now we got 2 dogs for the rest of the season. I would love that.
Yeah. All right, Jesse, man. Thank you for letting me come on and talk a bunch of nonsense.
No, I appreciate it. That was a hell of a call. I always enjoy talking to you. And again, for those of you who don't know, Chris is the one that makes the cover art for all these Tuesday shows. I get tons of people giving compliments about it. Now you know the man behind all of it. I appreciate you, Chris. Have a good night. We'll talk on Twitter Spaces.
All right, you too, man. Have a good one.
Later, man. All right, let's get to Scout Daddy. What's going on, Scout Daddy? How you doing?
What's up, Jesse? How are you?
I'm doing good. Lee, hold on a second. Eric, I'm coming to you next. Then I'm coming to you, Chenille. This whole Scout Daddy thing is throwing me off, Lee. You can't do that to me.
Yeah, no, I just love the drafts, Jesse. I missed most of the show tonight, so I'll go back and watch it as soon as I finish. But are we breaking down the upcoming game against the Cardinals?
Yeah, listen, we're doing a little bit of everything. So talked about the trade deadline, the small move the Niners made, the big move the Rams made. Talked about a little bit about the Bears game, Cardinals game. I'll obviously ask your score prediction. One of the things that has come up a lot throughout the show is Deebo Samuel. He's been a point of conversation. We were talking about, he's about to get paid after this year. Do you pay him, or if you can trade him for a first-round pick, do you do that? So wherever you want to take it, man. Those have been the topics so far, but whatever you want to say, I'm down to talk about.
Yeah, I've been out of the loop. Like, I've been busy since the game, so I haven't had time to go through it and have a good close look at the game apart from what I watched live. But it was good to see the offense rolling, finally clicking, especially in that second half. Debo's played well all year. Him and Mitchell, I felt like they've carried our offense. So they had good games. I was actually impressed with Justin Fields. He's the quarterback I wanted in the draft. I felt like he played really well. He did some things that only probably Lamar Jackson could do in the league. You know what I mean? Like that touchdown and stuff. And people forget, like, he's got the worst O-line in football. You imagine if you put Jimmy in that Bears team and you put him in our team, I think it would have been a really one-sided game. But it was good to see Jimmy go out there and get the win. And like I said, the offense finally clicked. Even guys like Alex Mack play pretty well. And like leading on to the season, I think last time I touched on it when I talked to you, I felt like at the start of the year, I was all for getting the wins and going hard to push for the playoffs to keep that window open from 2019, Jesse. But I feel like, they drafted for the future. They didn't draft to win now. And I don't feel like our season's still alive. I feel like it's over. And I feel like I've gone from wanting to start Jimmy and win this season, like since the Seahawks game, to just starting Trey and developing for the future. Because I don't feel like we're going to get through to the playoffs. I know we got like old school fans that'll think, this can still happen, and Homer fans that think, yeah, the season's alive after beating the Bears, but the Bears aren't a good team. We should have won that game. So, like, to me, that's not a big thing in beating the Bears. I feel like It's better to go ahead and develop Trey for the future. I've heard people say, "Oh, we're in a full rebuild. We should trade guys like Warner. We should trade guys like Kittle." Yeah, I'm not with that because I feel like it is a bit of a mini rebuild. But you shouldn't trade guys like Fred Warner. He's like the one leader we do still have on this team. After losing guys like Joe Staley, Richard Sherman. You got to hang on to guys like Warner. They're not only good, but they're in their prime. So yeah, I'm not with trading those guys. And you've already forked out money, so you got to eat what you lose on them too. And guys like Kittle, I see that because he does get injured a lot, and we're probably getting the best years out of him already. Like he's getting up there in age as well. So that is a worry, I guess, with Kittle. But yeah, looking into this week's game, I feel like we should get the win again because we're finally starting to roll on offense, and Kyler Murray, that's a big loss for the Cardinals. Also, is the center out because I know JJ Watt's gone as well for them, so that's a big help to us. Is it Rodney Hudson? Is he out for the season or is he back?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Hudson. I thought he was playing. Edmonds might be out. Hopkins might be out. We know that JJ's out. Kyler might be out. Yeah, they're banged up right now.
Yeah, if I had to have a guess, like on the score prediction.
You there? Oh no.
Well, to be honest, him. What is it?
I lost you. Hold on, Lee. I lost you there for a second. You said if I got to be honest on a score prediction.
Yeah, I'd say we should win, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think we should win comfortably. Because without Kyler Murray, he's huge for them, and I feel like he's been playing like MVP type of level for Cardinals this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. Honestly, even if Kyler Murray plays, I'm still picking the 49ers because I feel like they found a way to corral him in game one. Now he's injured, whether he plays or not, he's not going to be as mobile. And it's a home game. It's a division game. I feel like the 49ers win this one no matter what. I think that J.J. Watt injury is probably the difference maker for them because now they really don't have multiple guys that can get at Jimmy's neck. So as long as the 49ers can run the ball, which they need to stick to the run, they've proven it now for 2 straight games, going over 100 yards with a running back. 3 straight games, I think overall they've gone over 100 yards. And then, you add in the fact that the Cardinals really have trouble stopping the run. Yeah, I think the 49ers should win this one.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like so it's kind of like doubtful. He might play. Is that what you're saying?
Who, Kyler?
Yeah, Kyler Murray.
He's questionable. So we'll see how practice goes, but they said it was a 1 to 3 week injury. Now, remember they played on Thursday Night Football, so 1 week is actually this Thursday. So he'll have about a week and a half. So they said 1 to 3 week injury. So we'll see if he plays.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's how my feeling on this week's game. It's gotten a lot of fans giving us hope for the season and all that, but the season we're not going to make the playoffs. Like that window's really shut. I felt like it's shutting in the Seahawks game.
Listen, I mean, in order to make the playoffs, there's going to be a lot that has to break the 49ers way. Unfortunately for them, they've had injuries themselves. Some things have broke their way though, right? Like this Cardinals game looks like some of the injuries have broke their way. You've got the Titans game, which was a locked-in loss. It looks like they're going to be without Henry, so now that's broken their way. It's still going to be a tough game, but then you have other things that haven't broken their way. You're probably going to play Seattle with Russell Wilson. I mean, it would have been nice to have him on the schedule again earlier and gotten that win. So, we'll see how it plays out, but luckily for them, Minnesota, who's fighting for that 7th seed, they get to play Minnesota, who just lost Daniil Hunter, I believe, for the season. So, there are some things that are going their way, but it's still a long season. And, I guess, again, my point is, even if they make the playoffs, it's a wild card. You're going on the road. It looks like I lost him, but you're going on the road. You're playing a Dallas. You're playing a Tampa. You're playing a Green Bay. Chances are you're probably not going to win that game. Anything can happen, as Chris said, but I don't like our chances there. So, all right, Eric, my guy, thank you so much for waiting. I appreciate you. You're on a nice walk, man. I feel like if you're wearing a Fitbit, you've reached a lot of steps since you've been waiting. How you doing?
I got a Garmin.
There you go. Good. Yeah, same difference.
Yeah, doing great, man. We won.
Yeah,
Honestly,
right.
doing great.
That's a good start. Like it's a different vibe for sure coming off of a win than it is coming off of a loss. Yes.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, again, like I predicted we'd win, but again, it wasn't really based on how we were playing. It was mainly the Bears, and I was actually impressed with the Bears. And man, Justin Fields looked good though.
He did look good, and that's kind of the argument, right? Like as good as Jimmy looked, and people are saying like this was Jimmy's best game since the New Orleans game, whatever. That's great, but like even at his best, Jimmy didn't look better than that version, in my opinion, of Justin Fields, and that's only 6 games in for Fields. Like for gosh sakes, like let's get Trey some playing time here.
I mean, I will admit, I did have Fields as the quarterback I wanted when they first announced it, but you actually convinced me otherwise. And it goes back to like your conversation with Chris and stuff, like just his character and stuff.
Yeah.
Just from what I was reading, that's the main reason I was up on him. But anyway. I'm just glad we won.
That's the thing. I'm happy we won too, but that's the thing. Like Fields was a good guy as well. I felt like Fields was kind of that dude coming out of high school. People knew who he was. He was expected to be a top tier talent. And sometimes it takes a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. And Trey Lance definitely has that. I'm sure Fields has it in him, the way they lost to Clemson 2 years ago and then they came back and beat them. So I think he has some of that in him, but I know that Trey Lance has that fight in him because we saw it. Like just to get to this level, he was an underdog to get here. So the fact that he got here and was a 3rd overall pick, yeah, Trey Lance is bringing a little bit of dog in him that we know is there.
All right. But yeah, so on to your other subjects. So on the Debo thing, like, I would consider it, but
okay.
I'm on the side with, we just haven't, I mean, it goes back to who's going to make the pick. I mean, if the same people are making the picks,
yeah,
why are you going to make a trade like that? Because they haven't proven that they can make any picks right now. So you might as well just hang on to all the pieces you can. I mean, if you can get Devontae Adams and Debo, and then have Ayuk as your 3rd receiver, then
that's a whole different level. Yeah, I mean that would be insane. Yes, and you got Kittle too. My gosh, talk about weapons. That would be insane.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm kind of thinking they should just trade their high picks for lower picks because they seem to be working out. And if you get multiple lower picks, and all the lower picks seem to be better than the higher picks, so.
Yeah, I was talking about how they needed to trade a 4th rounder for Fuller from the Broncos today, and and somebody was like, well, they definitely need to keep those late picks. And I said, wouldn't it be funny if the 49ers called the Broncos, said, hey, what does it take to get Fuller? Broncos go 5th round, 49ers go, no, we'll give you a 4th. Like, we're keeping those 5th and 6th rounders because we draft good in those rounds.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of when I heard about the trade to Houston. I was like, oh, they couldn't give up a 4th instead?
Yeah, right. Yeah, seriously. No doubt.
But anyway.
What are your thoughts on Sunday? Who are you picking in this one?
This is the toughest game of the season. Like, to me, the hardest one to pick before this was the first Arizona game.
Yeah.
But at the end, I was
for
like,
very different reasons, right? Like that was his first start. We didn't know how it would go, so yeah, I feel it.
And to me, like the desperation factor played. I mean, that was one of the big reasons I thought that we would win this game. Is that the Bears knew they weren't going anywhere, but the 49ers still think they're a contender. So if they thought they were going to be a contender, they had to show something against the Bears. So now this game, it's like, well, now the Cardinals are kind of desperate because Kyler's out. So, like, I don't know. You always get that first game where the starter's out that, like, everyone just seems to step up.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's a good point.
but I think I will go with the 49ers on this one. I mean, this is assuming Kyler doesn't play. If Kyler plays, I don't think they win it. But
Okay, that's fair. That's fair, right? Like that's a huge difference. Kyler Murray, Colt McCoy, like that's a heck of a drop off. So yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm picking the Niners either way, but I could see why you would change your mind if Kyler's playing. Like that's a big deal.
I mean, to me, the only way I think if Kyler plays that we'd win is if we kind of keep it close and Jimmy has kind of one of his Jimmy first halves and then Trey comes in, then I think there's a decent shot that we'll have. But if Jimmy's playing the whole game and Kyler's playing the whole game, I just don't see it. I mean,
yeah. It's tough. It's definitely tough. I guess my reasoning for picking the 49ers is Kyler's mobility is going to be limited, right? Even if he plays, he's got to have limited mobility. So I feel like that goes in the 49ers' favor.
Yeah, but I mean, we held them to 17 last game and we still lost. So.
Yeah. Listen, touche. That's a very, very, yep, that's fair. All right. That's totally fair. Yeah, I can't argue that. I have no argument for that.
All right. But this is a good talking to you.
All right, man. You have a good night, all right?
All right, I will.
All right, later.
Thanks.
Yeah, come on in. I got one more, and then I can get to you and wrap this baby up. So yeah, if you can call on in. All right, Chenille, your turn. What's
how's
up?
it going, Jesse?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Kind of regretting on the pick because the 49ers won, and I had the Bears winning. It was a good game by Jimmy. I thought Jimmy played pretty good. Well, we know he can move a little bit, but was Khalil Mack there? Khalil Mack was not there, and even their safety got hurt too, Eddie Jackson.
Yeah, that was big. That was real big.
So even if he tried to go for who knows if that deep ball would have ever went through if someone like Eddie Jackson was back there. But we want to see the same performance like he played against Chicago, against the Arizona Cardinals. If he could do it against this pass rush, he could throw the ball quick. I mean, we got a chance to win a couple of games.
Listen, he's catching another break, right? Like when Trey Lance played this team, J.J. Watt was still on it. And J.J. Watt looked like, I don't know, circa 2015 J.J. Watt. Like this was an absolute animal against the right side of that 49ers line. So, yeah, I mean, he's catching a break. Like you didn't have to play against Khalil. Now you don't have to play against J.J. Watt. Now where he's not going to catch a break is that L.A. Rams game because they just added a piece and Von Miller to go with Aaron Donald. So he's not catching a break there.
He don't play J.J. Watt, but he does play Chandler Jones, which is another good pass rusher.
For sure, he does. But Chandler Jones is most likely going to go up against Big Trent Williams, who's given up 0 sacks. And, J.J. Watt, it's always when you have 2 pass rushers, right? Because now, even if they need to, they can double team Chandler Jones, but who else is going to get home? They do have I forget who the other kid is that's playing well, but I think a lot of that was due to J.J. Watt being there. So, we'll see. I will say this defensive line is going to get more pressure on them, a heck of a lot more pressure on Jimmy G, I would imagine, than what we just saw with the Bears.
And I think we should put Trey in like we did those other games, a few starts where he comes in and the defense doesn't know what they're getting out of Trey Lance. So we could warn the defense, hey, you're going to try us? We're going to test you with Trey Lance here. Oh, no, we're going to test you with Jimmy G. Just try to fake it out,
Yeah, for sure. What's kind of interesting
and
is...
Also Trey Lance gets a little bit more starts.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
not
no,
start.
listen.
I mean, like
More
more NFL
plays.
experience.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm with it. I'm definitely with it. This was like the one game that I was hoping that Trey Lance wouldn't take over though, because the Cardinals have already seen him, right? Like the whole element of Trey Lance is that he's going to catch people off guard because they don't know what to expect. But the Cardinals have already seen Trey Lance, so if this was where he ultimately took over the team, it may not be the best showing just because they just saw it a few weeks ago. You know what I mean?
Right. But this increases Jimmy G's trade value a little bit, but I still don't see teams trying to go after him. So I'm guessing maybe by next year we might release him because no teams want him. Just like what happened with oh no, he got traded. Never mind. I thought Goodwin got released, but no. I don't on this situation, I don't think nobody's going to try to find a partner for Jimmy G. It might end up like a Solomon Thomas situation where he just tests free agency.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right about that. Like, obviously, he's under contract with the 49ers, but unless he continues to play as good as he played against the Bears, you're not going to get anything for Jimmy G. It just kind of is what it is, right? So,
right.
But that's the whole thing, and this is why I think it's flawed logic to expect that you're going to get something for Jimmy G or play him hoping you get something. He was traded for a second-round pick. Jimmy G, regardless of whether you think he's the reason they got there or not, and I certainly don't, but Jimmy G and this team got to a Super Bowl. I feel like Jimmy G has earned his keep. So for me, if nothing comes of it, I'm totally cool with that.
I mean, we felt for the bait like Chiefs did with Matt Castle. I mean, we got another jockstrap holder, Jimmy G.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get rid of him, and start the Trey Lance era. And who knows? Maybe if Aaron Rodgers is available next year, which I hope he is, we should try to take a look at him.
You're the second person today that said this to me. I'm not totally against it, right? Like I'm definitely not totally against it. I just feel like that ship has sailed probably because he's going to be expensive. You've already traded 3 first-round picks for this rookie quarterback. Now, if you would have told me going into the draft, right? They had looked at Aaron Rodgers. If you would have told me that you could get Aaron Rodgers instead of Trey Lance, I would have taken Aaron Rodgers. Now, I know he's much older. I get all of that. But let's say you get 3 years out of Aaron Rodgers. He outlives or outplays those 3 first-round picks. And so to me, he's worth it. But now that you've got Trey Lance on this team and another year is passing, I feel like that ship has sailed. But, you always have to look at improving your team. I wouldn't be mad if they looked that direction, but I think that it's probably too little too late for that.
I'd rather Trey Lance learn from a great than a guy that all he's going to learn is how to collect checks.
Well, listen, that's the other thing, though, too, is I'm not saying you're going to learn nothing from him, but, my argument in Twitter Spaces earlier was Aaron Rodgers has to be willing to teach. Like, it's not just about learning. You have to have a guy in front of you that's willing to teach. And I don't think that's in Aaron Rodgers' temperament. So, I could be wrong about that, but I have a feeling that's not the type of guy that Aaron Rodgers is.
He taught Love. He's teaching Love a little bit. He didn't he say he was going to help him out a little bit? Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how much of that is true or translates. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want to sound like an asshole in front of the media, but just the vibe he gives off. Yeah, maybe in this scenario he'd be willing, knowing that he chose to come into this situation. Maybe that's a little bit different, but yeah, I don't know.
Right. Thank you for the platform, Jesse. Hit those
Of
likes.
course, man.
You have a good night.
Yeah, you too, brother. Hey, I appreciate you calling in. Definitely hit those likes, like he said, but I appreciate you calling in, and hopefully we can talk next week after a second 49er victory in a row. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Would be great.
All right, brother. Have a good night, okay?
You too.
All right. I'm going to get to my girl, Melissa. She's calling in. She tried to call in earlier, and she got a little busy, so she had to call back, but she's making it just in time. So glad to hear from her. It's always good to have a female on the show. We don't get many of those, and they all articulate very well. So glad to hear from her. Melissa, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to hear from you. Thank you so much for the support. You're always showing me love on Twitter, always trying to pump the channel. We got Mariah throwing up the fire signs for you. So it's good to hear from you.
Yeah, I wanted to call in earlier, but John's show went live, and I made a promise to him a while back. I always watch live.
Yeah,
So.
no. Listen, John, I love John Chapman. That's speaking of.
No. John Fornus.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Chapman. I'm like, listen, Chapman's one of those guys that I always try to pay attention to. He's a smart guy. So
he created a channel like yours, where he has his two best friends from way back.
Mhm.
One's a Buffalo fan and one's a Browns fan, and the three of them have a show called The Locker Room Rant.
Room Rant. I'm gonna check it out. Locker Room Rant. I'm putting it in my private chat now. I don't.
Yeah,
think
it's
I've come
called The
across
Locker
this.
Room Rant, and
Okay.
he started it, and I made him a vow because John's one of the very first friends I made on Twitter.
Huh?
Ever since we bonded over Dave Matthews Band, so I try to watch it every single time it goes live.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
And they got kicked off of YouTube this week. They got banned because of the NBA thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
what happened was John always watches games in the background. He always has his TV on.
Yeah.
And the NBA, I guess, paid extra money to crack down on that. So when he had the NBA games streaming, they got knocked off the channel. And they got a warning, and then they came back on, and then Tony got pissed off, so he started playing a bunch of different sound effects and music, and they got knocked off a second time that night.
Oh, shit.
So they got banned for this week, and they had to go on Twitch, and it was really messed up, but it was fun.
Wow, that's wild. Well, I hope they know that YouTube has a 3-strike rule from what I understand. So they got to be real careful from this point on. That's for sure. So yeah, I don't want them to go through what we went through, because that was not awesome.
No, that's why I got all upset on your chat last week, and I got upset on Twitter because that's not fair for anybody.
No, definitely not fair for anybody. Yeah, that's make sure that they know 3-strike rule with them, and if they're monetized or anything like that, like that's definitely not a place that they want to go. They don't, because I still, it's been I think it's been a month today, Melissa, and I still have not heard from YouTube on that whole thing. Still haven't heard from them. So
it can't be worse than Amazon, because Amazon gave me the runaround last night and they did nothing for me. So, but I called in to talk about Niners and
let's talk about Niners. You're right. Okay, you're right. Enough about YouTube and Amazon. All right. What's on your mind with the Niners?
I'm concerned about the running backs. I mean, everyone's talking about corners and safeties and receivers, and rightly so. But I'm really worried about the running backs because Elijah Mitchell has a rib injury now.
Yeah, he definitely has a rib injury. It sounds like he's going to be fine. They're just going to kind of keep him out of practice, up until maybe Thursday or so. But I think he's going to play. Jeff Wilson Jr. is coming back, so that is certainly encouraging. So there is that at least.
The other thing I'm worried about is if Elijah's hurt for the second time now, it's going to cause more people to attack him and call him a bust or call him like all this stuff. And then it'll give Kyle more incentive not to play the rookies because he wants to redshirt them so badly. Because I don't understand why he wants to keep healthy scratching Lenore. Like, that makes no sense to me when he produced. And he had a few hiccups, but every rookie has hiccups. I mean, Micah Parsons got burnt how badly by Brady, and he's not being benched. So it's not like Norman and Manny mostly are like mistake free. So I don't get why they're being healthy scratch right now.
Yeah, listen, Lenore obviously had his kid last week, so he wasn't going to play anyways. But yeah, up to that point, I mean, he had a couple healthy scratches. Lenore's been good. I think Lenore's been just fine. I mean, I would have been fine if the 49ers had traded K1 at the trade deadline, picked up an extra asset, and then said we're rolling with Lenore in the nickel spot. So, for me, I would have been totally fine with that.
I also wanted to ask you, with Ward being injured and he might be playing, but who would you want to play for Ward? Because I know right now Talano is in for Tart, but who would you like to see at the other safety spot?
Gosh, that's going to be tough. I mean, they have options, but none of them are amazing. They're all, veteran players. I think it would have been nice to have Maiden right now. Like they got rid of Maiden and he's not there anymore. Like this would have been one of those things that one of those situations where I would have preferred to had a second young player on this team to develop. So, that being said, I think all the options available are fine. But none of them are going to be difference makers. Losing Ward is going to be huge. Ward is a difference maker on that team. He basically takes any tight end completely out of games. Let's not forget that the Cardinals just traded for Ertz. So he's on this team now. That's just an added weapon for them. And we know if Jimmy Ward was playing, that Ertz would be a non-factor. Now that he's not playing or possibly not playing, chances of him being a non-factor are very low. So that's going to sting a little bit.
I also want to ask you why you hate Greenlaw so much.
I don't hate Greenlaw. I actually like Greenlaw a lot.
You kind of went off on him a lot yesterday on the Gritty Niners.
No, listen here. I just have to. I have to compare him to Azeez Al-Shaair, right? And that's just it. So like that's the tough spot. Like when you get asked about two players, what happens is it sounds like you're naturally putting one of the guys down. And that's never, that's not the intention here. But, I have to talk one up. And when you talk one up, you're putting the other one down. So I think Greenlaw is good. Greenlaw, Al-Shaair, Warner.
Can I ask you, is it because he's more gap sound?
Al-Shaair?
Azeez? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So, and the other thing is this, though, too, Melissa. Let me say this just real quick, and then I'll let you finish. But, let's not forget that he was a safety coming out of college. So a lot of people expect that he would be better in coverage, but I actually think that Azeez Al-Shaair is a little bit better in coverage, believe it or not. And so for me, like if he's a little bit better in coverage and he's definitely more gap sound, and he flies around, he plays with his hair on fire. I really like what Azeez Al-Shaair's been doing in his absence.
Okay, so I had to ask that because I know Azeez is way more gap sound, and I know that that actually makes Fred Warner more happy because he kind of lost his shit on Greenlaw in the Detroit game where Greenlaw was trying to make way too many plays and wasn't playing gap well, and he kept going for the big tackles, and then he wouldn't be playing his gaps, and that left Warner kind of like doing too much and trying to make up for way too many things that he's not supposed to be doing. And I think Warner got blasted a lot this week for that again because he's trying to play like all three positions all by himself, and he can't do that really. So I think Azeez helps out Warner a lot more than Greenlaw does, but Greenlaw is a better tackler, and I still say one of my favorite Greenlaw plays was in week 6 last year when he made that huge tackle going out of bounds on the sideline in the end zone. Red zone. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you're right about that. He did. That's the thing about Greenlaw, right? Like he's flash and he has like some of these really memorable plays. You talk about that play. You talk about the other play, 2 plays against Seattle. 2019, obviously the week 17 play where he helps them win the division. But even the first game against Seattle, he almost won it, right? Like he got a pick really they should have
In
won the game there if
overtime.
they had a field goal kicker. Yes, if they had a freaking
Him
field
and
goal kicker, right?
him and Buckner had big turnovers in overtime.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
You know what it reminded me of? I watched it this year because my brother's a Packer fan. It
Mhm.
reminded me of that Packers-Cincinnati game where neither kicker could do anything. It just kept going back and forth. Who's finally going to win in overtime?
Right.
And then the hilarious part was it was so late that they actually yanked it off of Fox and they put the Giants game on. And you didn't even know till like 7 minutes into the Giants game if Crosby actually made the kick that won the game for the Packers. They didn't show it. They didn't mention it. They didn't anything until like 7 minutes into the Giants game. It's the craziest thing ever.
That's wild. That's absolutely wild. Okay, so let me ask you this. So this Sunday, obviously huge game. The 49ers need to win this game because if they lose, they're 2 games under 500. Then they're playing the Rams, which, I mean, I don't think they're winning that one. So they have to win this game. Do you think the 49ers get it done Sunday?
I think if Kyle sticks to the running game and the running backs stay healthy or Theo can act as a surrogate running back, it's possible. But I still don't trust anybody near Buda Baker. I have this very big fear of Buda Baker. It's not because I think he's dirty. It's just everybody always gets hurt around Buda Baker. It's the weirdest thing. But I think they could do it. I don't trust Jimmy. I can't. And with the way we've been losing at home, it's just I want it, but I can't trust it. And I don't want to get my hopes up again. That makes any sense.
No, I feel it. I mean, I definitely don't I don't want to put that because right now, like we're in this weird spot where all of a sudden we feel like, okay, playoffs is a viable option, right? And so the moment that they lose a game that you expect them to win, that pretty much shuts it down. So there's a lot riding on these games, this game, the Jacksonville game, some of these other games that we are starting to expect the 49ers to win and hopefully sneak into the playoffs. You lose one of those games, it's pretty much over for you, right?
Yeah, you mentioned it on Twitter with the Titans game.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we're at with it. Is every game counts now, so much more than it did before. And unfortunately, the 49ers they could have won that Green Bay game, they could have won the Seattle game, they could have won the Arizona game. Unfortunately for them, they lost the Colts game. They lost all 4 of those. So now your back's against the wall and you have no other options. So that's where they're at. It's tough.
The tough part is I think a lot of us had them either going like 11-6 or 12-5, 13-4, and it's just like you're kind of up against the wall, and you think there's still going to be at least 1 or 2 more divisional losses, if not more, and it kind of hurts that Arizona started off so hot.
Yeah, definitely does. Because even if you beat Arizona this time around, it's like, well, they're still 2 games ahead of you. Like that's a big difference. That's gonna be tough to make up, especially when they've already beaten the Rams. They only have 1 more game against the Rams, and we've still got to play the Rams twice. So yeah, that hurt.
I still think they should have lost to the Vikings, but that's just me.
Oh yeah, no,
way close.
Yeah. No, they definitely should have. The Vikings played really well that game. But that's another break for the 49ers. Speaking of Vikings, they're going to be fighting for that last playoff spot, potentially with the Vikings. And by the way, the Vikings just lost their best pass rusher for the season. So that game is going to be a huge game when they end up playing.
Danielle Hunter's out again?
Yeah, his season's done.
That's ouch.
Yeah.
Like Derwin James, they can't catch a break once they get hurt.
Yeah, you're right. Some of those guys they can't stay healthy. They just can't do it.
Can I just mention one thing on the Aaron Rodgers thing real quick? Because I have a sibling who's the most obnoxious Packer fan you will ever meet.
Okay.
Like, it's awful. What is everybody's obsession with Aaron Rodgers? Because this man has been in the league since 2005, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he didn't play the first few years. I understand this, but he's been in the league that long. He's only ever beaten Jay Cutler in the Chicago Bears, which, by the way, Jay Cutler couldn't even finish the damn game. He was on the bicycle for a lot of that game. So you're playing some like backup. I forget if he's a receiver or something else as the quarterback for that game. And that's your only NFC championship win. Yes, you won the Super Bowl, but that's all he's ever done in his career. So why does everybody want to give up the house for Aaron Rodgers when you're whining about giving up too much picks for Trey Lance, who has not even had a chance in the league yet? I don't get the hypocrisy of it.
Listen, so Aaron Rodgers is immensely talented. Like, there's no doubt about that. But there is something, you mentioned Jay Cutler, and there's something a little Jay Cutler about Aaron Rodgers to me. I feel like he's a little bit of a front runner, right? If times get tough, this man is going to fold a little bit. And,
he's like Eli Manning.
He does have a little Eli in him.
He wants the big plays. He doesn't care about playing to win. He wants to have the big name, but he doesn't actually want to do the work for it. He wants to have the notoriety and to be put up there with his big brother Peyton, but he's not really big brother Peyton because he doesn't want to put the work in for it. He wants all his guys, but then at the same time, he'll throw his guys under the bus if he's really on a bad losing streak, and it's never his fault. He wants a coach that believes in him and will give him a good chance to win, but then as soon as him and the coach butt heads and things start falling apart, it's all the coach's fault. He's just doing what coach wants. And with Kyle, we don't really need two people like that on our team. I really don't.
Oh, that's so funny you said that, because I swear on everything I was thinking to myself, God, she's kind of describing Kyle right now. Like, that's so funny that you said that. Listen, no lies detected. No lies detected. So he's still really good. I think, that's the only thing. So it's like,
But Russell Wilson's really good, and Russell Wilson hasn't gotten back to the championship. And he's been mostly healthy besides this year.
Yeah.
So, I understand wanting a vet. The vets know how to read the defenses. The vets have done it. They've won it. They don't get too big in their britches or whatever. But at some point, you have to announce that these guys are in their 30s. These guys aren't going to be around long. They've had injuries. It's not going to be the same. Nobody's going to be Brady, where they have this like miraculous turnaround when they're in their 40s and they're going to win it all in their first year. I mean, I don't understand. And I'm guilty of it. Everyone's guilty of it. We all jumped on Jalen Moore after that first preseason game, but you got to give the rookies a chance.
Yeah.
So this redshirting, this jumping, this quitting, and it baffles me because everybody this week was talking about who has value to trade, and they wanted to trade Bosa, they wanted to trade Warner, they wanted to get all these draft picks back because we don't have a first. And then at the same time, you're saying, well, why aren't we like the Rams giving up everything to go get guys? So which one do people really want? Do they want the vets that are proven, or do you want the picks to get young guys? And if you want the young guys, why don't you want them to develop?
Yeah, the whole everybody being up in arms over the trade that the Rams made. Again, the 49ers are in a completely different timeline. The 49ers have proven that they can be aggressive when the timeline is met. You look at that 2019 season, before that season starts, they go and get D Ford. That was an aggressive move. Then when the season's going on, they go and they get Emmanuel Sanders. That was an aggressive move. So I don't think that they lack aggression. I think the 49ers problem is they have an evaluation issue. They overvalue certain players. They overvalue certain positions. And I think that's why they get in trouble. But as far as aggression, I don't think they lack aggression. I mean, they just traded 3 first-round picks for the future quarterback. Like, that's aggressive.
It's funny you mentioned that because my friend Zach, who runs the Niners Hive and the RGS pod, which is just him and Matt, mentioned that, and he brought that also up with Mike Andrews when Mike Andrews was on the show. And I don't think it's an evaluating problem. I think the two major problems are, one, Kyle wants everybody to be these Madden-like players where he can do everything with them. Like he wants Aaron Banks to lose weight and switch sides. He wants Solomon Thomas, who's really strong on the inside, to play outside.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants Arik Armstead, really strong inside, to play outside. And he wants to constantly change these guys, what they're strong at, what their weight is best at, to play what Kyle thinks he wants. And I think Kyle has an issue where he brings in people who have talent but don't fit his idea and then blames them when it doesn't work out. So he wants these like multifaceted guys that really can't do multifaceted or try to, and then they don't live up, and then he quits on them. I think we have a developmental issue, and I think we have a doghouse favorite guys issue, because we brought in Aaron Banks, I really truly believe, just because he went to Notre Dame and he was a player with and a friend of Mike McGlinchey. And I really think they want him to flip sides and lose all that weight to kind of compensate and make up for McGlinchey being a certain way and playing a certain way. And they want the two of them to be a tag team on the right side.
Listen, I don't think you're that far off, because if you remember, that video clip started to surface again this week, that when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch called him to congratulate him for coming on the team, they said, hey, we talked to McGlinchey, and McGlinchey said this morning that he wanted you on this roster, so we went and got you. Like, okay, well, hold on a second. So you went to a player who shouldn't be our starting right tackle that you overpaid for and asked him who he wanted to play next to? Come on. Please tell me that's not what happened.
I think it's also because Kyle and Lynch want to prove that they can actually make those higher draft picks too, because not very many first, second, or thirds have landed or stayed with the squad. So they're like trying to do everything in their power to prove that McGlinchey is a guy, and he's going to be around here long term, and he can do the job. And I really think that's why it's Aaron Banks, not Creed Humphrey, because Creed Humphrey makes just too much sense on paper and in reality as a player. Guy can play guard, he can play center. Supposedly he can play all three positions inside. So fit-wise, scheme-wise, multifaceted-wise, Kyle-wise, it all makes sense aside from the fact he didn't go to Notre Dame and he's not friends with Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah, that's how nice would it be to have him right now at right guard, and then by the way, he's going to be your future center. Like,
and learn under Alex Mack, who you love, who knows your system, and then absorb like a sponge.
Yep. Hey, Melissa, can I tell you that I had about 7 or 8 comments pop through talking about how you know your ish, you're on fire, great call, she's spitting. Yeah, everybody, listen, everybody's with you on this one for sure. That right there, folks, that is how you end a show. That is how you end a call. Now, but before we do, give me your official final score. I know that we talked about it a little bit, but I want the official final score.
Robbie Gold's back because he cut Sly, and I'm not really happy about that. I'm probably one of the very few people who actually liked Sly. Because, yeah, he has issues, but so does Robbie. Robbie has inconsistent issues. He can't make it past a certain depth-wise, and he's old, he's injured, and he's unreliable, and he's way overpaid. But Sly has that weird, is it to the left or to the right issue that pissed everybody off, and he missed one extra point in a field goal, and that sent everybody in a tizzy. Oh, I'm going to say 24-21, but I'm not really sold on it being that high.
Okay. All right. Everybody wants to know what your Twitter handle is. What's your Twitter handle?
It's NJ49IZZY.
NJ49IZZY. I just retweeted her earlier today, so if you have trouble finding her for any reason, you can find her there.
I've been posting about you and the giveaway tomorrow, like nonstop. So if anything, you should just Jessie and this crazy person with Trey Lance bobblehead as her picture, and that's me.
That's awesome. Well, listen, I mean, you're entered to win, so let's, shoot, maybe you end up winning this whole thing. We'll see. I think it'd be fitting. You have been pumping it like crazy, so
I enjoy it. I mean, right now, I can't tell if you can see it because you have the camera right
I see the 49ers Hive. Yeah, 49ers Hive.
Can I show you the back? The back is the best part.
Yeah, show it.
So, my dear friends, and I love them to pieces, Zach and Matt from Niners Hive, they have this pod called RGS Pod, which is part of their Niners Hive brand.
Yeah. What is it, like Red Gold Standard? Is that what it stands for?
Yeah.
RGS? Yeah.
Yes, it is. And they had a 100th episode a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a giveaway, and I won that by over commenting in their chat, and I won a free piece of gear, and they sent me this hoodie. I can't tell if you can see it.
Can't see it.
Okay, what about now?
Yes. Oh, that's sick.
It's
I like
Trey
that.
Lance from the draft night.
I love
that. So it's a zip hoodie,
that.
And zip hoodies are my favorite.
I love that. That's dope. So it's got the 49er Hive logo on the front. It's got the
Trey on the back.
Yes. And it's the one where he's got the glasses and he's holding up the
from draft night with the glasses and everything.
I love that.
It's a hoodie, and the cool thing is, look, it has these little things on the hood, so it's easier to hang.
Yeah.
And it's got a little thing here on the pocket, so that way if you want headphones to come through the pocket, you can do that without getting it snagged on the zipper.
That's dope.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
I like it. That's sick.
And
that's a sick hoodie.
They have constant crossovers with Nothing But Niners, so if you're a fan of them, Mike and Breezy have also been on their show a lot, so you should check out RGS Pod, Niners Hive. They have Dion. They have another pod called Forever Faithful. It's a big family, and it's a bunch of really awesome, faithful fans.
Yeah, I didn't know that they had all those other pods. I do subscribe to them on YouTube. I try to show love to everybody in the community.
Well, like I said, RGS, which is the Red and Gold Standard Podcast, is just the two of them, the main two that started it all. So it's just Zach Hernandez and Matt Llewellyn, and then they brought in the Forever Faithful podcast guys. I can't say their names for the life of me without butchering them, so I'm not going to try. But you can find them under FF Pod on Twitter, and then they brought in Dion. He's Swifty on Twitter, is their newest member.
Okay.
They got Joey is a beat writer, and they got a bunch of other people. It's one big inclusive family. So
yeah, they've been around for a minute. I know that they at one point they were talking to Bay Area Baller about coming on as well. So yeah, they got a whole thing going on over there. Those guys, nice guys too, by the way. But I mean, really, really nice guys. So if you're not checking them out, and if you prefer the video stuff, 49ers Hive on YouTube. So they got it all over there. Melissa, thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for that call. We got another person saying you're ish. So yeah,
and
that
I'm
was a
also
hell of
going
a
to be
call.
on Mariah's show on Thursday, so please go check out her channel.
Yeah, right here. I've got her up right here. So I've been on her channel as well. I actually just resubscribed to her like a day or two ago because I forgot that when I lost my channel, like I'm not subscribed to half these people that I used to be subscribed to. So yeah, I did everything I could to make sure that I got back. So appreciate you, Melissa. Have a great night.
Thanks for staying on. I really wanted to call in. So
of course.
It's nice of you
I had to get you on. Once you said you were calling back in, I'm like, all right, we got to end the show. So, all right, Melissa, you have a good night, okay?
You too.
All right, bye-bye. All right. That's, let's see. Just going to change this overlay real quick. Hey, Lee, I'll have to get back to you next time, my guy. You're the only one waiting. I apologize. You did get cut out earlier. I would love to finish with you, but it's almost 1 a.m. over here for me, my guy. So I'm gonna wrap up. Jamal, my guy from Twitter, did ask a question. I want to answer that for him. I don't have it on the screen. But he asked, what are my keys for the game? The keys for the game have to be running. I mean, 100%, it has to come down to running the football. The Cardinals are susceptible to being ran on. The 49ers have proven now for 3 straight games that they can absolutely run the ball. So running the ball is going to be key. Keeping these guys off of Jimmy Garoppolo so that he can at least be efficient, that is going to be the key to this game. And so for me, as long as the 49ers, I think as a team, they need to go for about $1.50 to win this game. So that's the magic mark, $1.50, 49ers run game. That's the key for me. As far as everybody else goes, I appreciate all of you. That is the show for the night. Make sure that you subscribe if you have not done so. If you have subscribed or you're going to subscribe, tomorrow is the giveaway. So make sure you go to that very first video that I put up on the YouTube channel and say that you have subscribed. We will be giving away $100 and, well, 49er gear or gear of your choice, fan gear of your choice. So tomorrow that giveaway will happen. We appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great night, and hopefully we get a 49ers victory. Peace.